Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.
We are here once again with another episode of History and Headlocks. And I was about to ask you how you recovered from WrestleMania, and visually, there's definitely a change.
I'm like, yes, I'm a brand new woman.
You went from red to black.
Yes, I'm embracing my dark side now. My witchy side, my Morticia Adams, alter ego here.
What's his name? What do you do?
Nothing. No one's done anything.
I mean, well, how have you recovered from WrestleMania?
Okay. I mean, I think other people have been more frustrated than I have. I think Raw was such a great episode this year, the Raw after Mania, that it kind of made me forget about a lot of the mid stuff that happened at Mania weekend. But like I was telling you and Jay in the chat, that they should have had those two matches on SmackDown on Mania, meaning Zelina versus Chelsea should have been on Mania if that meant that there was going to be a title change. I think that would have been perfect. Giving both of them a Mania moment, and then that triple threat TLC match with Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and Street Profits. How was that not on a pay-per-view?
I mean, like I said when we talked about it in the review, like they do a 3-hour pre-show and you did nothing. But
they did nothing. They could have some of those other matches that were on Mania and on the pre-show.
That's true.
It's just like, I feel like, especially Motor City Machine Guns, they could have had their first WrestleMania appearance ever. And they didn't. And it's just so not fair. These matches should have been showcased in front of the whole world. Not on a SmackDown on a Friday night. Come on.
You know what? They did pull out all the stops. I've had an incredible,
phenomenal match. Yeah. Oh, fantastic match. I enjoyed it so much. And, sometimes I don't really enjoy those matches in WWE TV, but this was great.
I will say that Saturday where we went to the center. Unfortunately, you weren't feeling well. I felt bad for you. And also, that was one of the days where it decided to be one of the hotter days before we get into the summer, which by the way, shout out to Seneca for letting us in. Big host for letting us in. And I kind of almost got in trouble a little bit because I brought food with me, even though the place had food of their own. I had to stop and get something to eat because I was exhausted, but I didn't want to pay
Seneca money.
Yeah.
I hear that. Listen. I can't blame you.
As we are moving into the new season, we're about to be in spring?
We are in spring, almost into summer.
Yeah, spring. And if you hear me congested or sound nasally, because guess what? It's allergy season again. So these allergies are the worst.
Let me tell you something. The best thing I could have done was start getting my allergy shots last year. Because now I have no allergies. I mean, I think also it doesn't help that I lost my cat a few months back, and she was probably a contributor to the allergies.
Right.
But what can I do about that?
Right.
Yeah.
It always sucks when I went to go to Jay's place and AJ was always there, and like I'll touch him and then be stupidly be like, okay, I mean, touch my ass just for a second.
Yeah.
And I was over there for Money in the Bank, and Jay looked over, and my face exploded. Like my eyes were swollen shut. It was just like, I was like, I feel bad, but it's like you can't help it sometimes. I remember when I was also little, I went to get my first allergy shots, and they like shoot you up on the arms like 8 times just to see like what you're allergic to. It looked insane when I was younger.
I bet. Yeah, my arm too. I had like the whole track.
Right. It'd be like 8 individual little needles. Like, okay, like pick. And you're sitting out there in the lobby or in the room just waiting to get seen again, and you're just looking at like different colored blood, or like what the fuck is going on with my arms? Yeah, pretty much. They said I look like a different person.
Yeah, no, it happens. It happened to me years ago as a kid. I went to my friend's house and she had guinea pigs, and I was playing with her guinea pigs, and my whole face blew up.
See, that's one of those rare stories where it's the guinea pig.
I know, and they're so cute. They're just such cute little potatoes.
Usually the enemies are the cats or dogs, but you don't hear guinea pigs.
Yeah, that's why I could never have another cat, I think, again, because I can't. No.
Never say never.
No, because for me to not have allergies anymore, the sacrifice I'll have to make anyway.
But on that sad, depressing note, we are here once again, History and Headlocks.
Yes.
If you don't know who we are, I'm Mike and she's Ariana.
No.
Thank you again for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. We are 16 away from reaching 100 subscribers, so please, if you enjoy what you see here and other content on the channel as well, please subscribe.
Share.
And share. Yes,
that's so major.
You will not be disappointed when you get on this channel.
Yes.
Wanted to give a little update because people are asking about T-shirts, because at the Seneca there were T-shirts that me and Ari received.
Yes.
We will have a future announcement about that, but if you want a T-shirt now, contact me personally or message us at the NYWM_history headlocks. We'll talk about pricing. We'll talk about shipment. We'll discuss that all in private.
Yes.
If you want a shirt now,
it's a cool shirt,
and you can't wait. So, because I just want to let everybody know, because I think I got hit up so many times this week about a T-shirt already. It's like,
really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So for the people that are asking about T-shirts, message the Instagram page, and we will talk in private about all the stuff that needs to go down.
Awesome. That's great. That's great news. I like that. Well, you did have it on display last week during the review, one of the review videos that we did.
Yeah, it's still here. It's not good. It's not going to work probably with
the background.
The effects.
Put it in front of me.
So
put it in front of you. Like,
so yeah.
There you go.
This is what it is. Just the original logo shirt. I say original because if anybody's looking at the background, it is changed. So
yeah.
So that means more shirts to come.
And that one may have to change too because of.
Or I might have 2 different versions. One with the red hair, one with the black hair now.
Yeah, why not? Sure. You never know. I may come back next week with red hair. Nah.
For all we know, you might come back next week bald.
Oh no. I don't know, man.
Not that kind of look.
That's a little too far.
What about pink, purple, blue?
Purple? I would love to have purple hair. Hey, this has some blue in it. It's a blue tint to it. Just need blue black.
Okay, so this episode's gonna be very interesting because we're talking about one of the most controversial and some say polarizing figures in the world of professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman.
And that's pretty much the echo that everybody does for when he introduces himself. But all right.
Yeah.
We're about to talk about his whole history, his beginnings, in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe Paul Heyman to a non-wrestling fan?
Paul Heyman, wow, he is like, I'm gonna say he is the Wizard of Oz of wrestling. You know, yeah, like he's, you don't realize how much he contributes behind the scenes because you're so used to seeing him as a character on TV, that a manager, he was conniving in WWE, or he was, you know, always putting people over, or he was a broadcaster in ECW. But the things he contributed to professional wrestling behind the scenes, in terms of creative, in terms of booking, in terms of signing people, you don't realize just how much influence that he has had on this business.
Well, we definitely get into it when we talk about all the years he's been in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a mixture of him definitely getting himself over it, but more importantly, how he wanted to get everybody else over it.
Yes.
Which shows like how selfishness, like how like unselfish he was. Is that the right term I'm using?
Yeah, selfless.
Selfless.
Yeah, selfless. And just how savvy he was in spotting stars.
Right.
You know? Yeah, absolutely.
So when we get into it, he pretty much early on grew up as a wrestling fan. He grew up in New York City, like all of us. He's from Scarsdale, New York, and it's interesting because this is all basically from the My Name is Paul Heyman documentary back in the day. So all this is pretty much information I gathered from that and from online.
Cool.
But started off early as a photographer, and funny enough, sneaks his way into MSG.
Right.
And first of all, you'd think MSG would have better security for like not like outsiders in the building, but
I guess not then back in the day.
I guess not. And what would he sneak into the MSG to do? Just take pictures of the wrestlers at ringside.
Yeah.
It was like Bill Apter and other famous photographers. And does that kind of surprise you at all to hear like that's like his early beginnings?
I mean, not really. He was so young back then. You know, he was just a kid, really.
Right.
So you start somewhere. You start small, especially when you're basically a teenager and you are a huge fan. You're gonna try to find the most obscure way to sneak in and get involved in the business without getting busted or kicked out or even arrested. And
True.
Especially at his age, you know, walk in with a camera.
Right.
They'll think he's press. They'll just think he's been there, you know, hired to take pictures for a magazine or some other publication. Nobody would have known the difference. Very smart.
I guess. I mean, if people just see a kid with a camera, they're like, okay, you're in.
Yeah.
And not really ask a lot of questions. But
Right.
like I said, like got in pretty easily, which is the funny thing to say, because then he's in the buildings and learning from the Captain Albano, Classy Freddy Blassie, the Grand Wizard.
I'm sure he knew how to like talk people into, you know, even back then.
Yeah, we'll get into how much of a smooth talker he is, because a lot of things like later on, like you think he would be in big trouble for, but the way he would manipulate or twist everything around, but
Yes.
But early on, as a photographer at Madison Square Garden taking pictures around the ring, got into early arguments with a lot of professionals. Like Bill Apter said, like he'd be a pain in the ass because there'd be shots like that'd be perfect for a magazine, and then you get like elbow in the kidney, and you look over as this little Jewish kid, Paul Heyman.
Right.
Where I think it would be funny because all these people are professional taking pictures for magazines. This is just Paul Heyman just did this just to take pictures of the wrestlers and get to talk to everybody.
Right.
Which is one of those interesting things. And then he goes he takes a bus from New York City all the way down to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And just this is all weird. This is all funny to say. Just sits in the back of a production meeting for WCW that's run by Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty Rhodes was doing the meeting, and he spots him in the back. He's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" He says, "Oh, I'm getting 2 pictures." "Oh, no. What? You're from New York. Why are you all the way here?" And then, of course, Paul Heyman being the wise guy, the smooth talker, "I'm here to learn from you. There's no one else better than you, Dusty." And of course, Dusty goes, "Stay," or doesn't kick this kid out. He doesn't send him on a bus back to New York City. He just says, "Stay here."
Right.
And then he talks about how, like, in the production meetings, Paul Heyman would move up closer and closer to, like, learn more. Like, so, pretty much at the age of 20, 21, Paul Heyman is in the wrestling business. Just like that.
Moved his way in.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Which, it's weird to say respect that, because now we know today, like, the only way to get into business is, like, be a photographer or train.
Right.
And obviously Paul Heyman took the photography route. So.
Right. Yeah.
Is there any other weird way you ever heard somebody get into the business?
I mean, other than people saying they were trained and acting like they were already considered professional wrestlers to get into the ring, as we've seen some people do that in the past. Like, step it away. No, I mean, for the most part, you always hear about people either showing up and then just, networking with the right person, and then suddenly they're either getting trained or they're being put at ringside or in the ring to do some other sort of maybe non-wrestling capacity, like ring announcing or whatnot, or interviewing. And it's just being in the right place at the right time and speaking with the right person. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, and speaking of that, which is a perfect segue, because he knew a wrestler by the name of Bam Bam Bigelow, who trained under the Monster Factory, I believe.
I believe so, yes. In Jersey.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned that in Florida they need a talker. So Paul Heyman again is going from New York to Florida, and all of a sudden he's now becoming a manager.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing small wrestling gigs and doing small manager roles. He goes to Memphis, and this is where I'm interested to hear from your take on this. Is his personality-wise,
right?
Where he talks about in Memphis, he says it was miserable. I didn't get along with anybody. And this is when Jay Long was running the promotion, and it's him and 2 other guys that Paul Heyman's managing, and they're the hottest angle at the time in Memphis. Mm-hmm. But what do you think about Heyman's personality? Where, for like Jerry Lawler, like, why don't you think that would click?
I mean, you can imagine, Paul's this young kid from New York, right? He's probably abrasive. He moves fast. He speaks fast. He doesn't hold back. You know how New Yorkers are. We don't hold back. We speak like we're in a rush to go somewhere, even if we're not. We speak our mind. We're to the point where we have the stereotype that New Yorkers are rude, right? Everywhere you go, people think that we're rude. Tourists come here and treat us like shit before we even speak, because they think we're going to be assholes to them first. So I can imagine at that time in the 80s, right? Him going down south, where they're very conservative to this day. Mm-hmm. Believe in the Southern hospitality to this day. And, encounter people like Jerry Lawler, who's been in the business for so long, who he himself, in his own way, kind of have a very similar personality to Paul Heyman, right? It's just going to be a clash of culture, a clash of minds. It was just going to be explosive.
I mean, from his background, where Jay puts, his father was a personal injury attorney and a World War II veteran, and his mother was a Holocaust survivor.
Amazing.
And then you mix that person, all that background into this kid, and he's going around the world. Well, he's going around in the world of professional wrestling, being a big mouth, arrogant little shit.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter who you put him with at the time. I mean, early on, Like we're not. It's not until later on when we get to WCW where when you put certain people with them, it clicks. But early on, I mean, it definitely just shows too. Like it was definitely more of his mouth was writing checks that his ass can cash in certain instances.
Right.
Because I think for him, it was always he feels he's right and everybody's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
When he wants his ideas out there, and if God forbid somebody else had an idea, he's like, no, that doesn't work. My idea makes sense. That's how I always felt early on when people talk about the early Paul Heyman days.
Right.
But then when he goes to WCW, he pretty much explodes on the scene. His feud with the original or not the original, it's the Midnight Express, right? With Jim Cornette's people.
Yes.
Yeah, where he had one member of the original and Jim Cornette had the other. Mm-hmm. But as far as his wrestling name, it's he made his managerial debut in 1987 under the ring name Paulie Dangerously. Do you know where that comes from?
Me, no. I actually don't.
I think it came from a movie that Matthew McConaughey was started.
Oh, he's Matthew McConaughey.
No, not Matthew McConaughey. Jesus
way.
Christ.
Not back then.
No, I had this.
Matthew Broderick, you mean?
Oh, hell no.
Johnny Dangerously, right. The Michael Keaton movie, yes.
Yeah, so Keaton. I was thinking, I was picturing his face, but I don't know why I said McConaughey.
Batman. You could have just said Batman. Or Beetlejuice.
Yeah. That's true. And then the phone. I think that's where also he got the phone from too.
Yes. Yeah. It was a very even with that being the case, it still felt like a Wall Street kind of gimmick that he was doing too. You know?
Right. Like, every day promos too. He was talking about how he has money men calling him up, telling him to bring in the big guys to come deal with whoever he was dealing with. But I gotta ask you, did you ever have one of those big ass phones? Me?
No. My dad did.
Oh.
But not me. I was just a kiddo back then, so no phones for me.
But do you remember ever seeing it?
Of course. Like I said, my dad had one. He had that big old, look like a mini fridge being held up to your head with the long antenna, and it weighed a ton.
Do you remember how it would work? Because I think everybody just says like people have like that one number on it, or then they just.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously it didn't work the way it did now. I believe there was a code you had to type in prior to entering the phone number that you were trying to call. Right. And it had a battery pack inside of it that needed to be, I think either replaced or charged up.
Right.
Yeah, which is why it was so damn big, And I believe the lifespan on them were not that long either. Yeah.
Because can you just imagine smacking somebody in the back of the head with that thing?
Oh, you could kill somebody easily. Crack their skull.
I mean, and look at and just see this picture, just early Paul Heyman and early Undertaker, which because I mean, early on, Paul Heyman was in the mix with all these guys that would become big stars. Because once he gets to WCW, they give him the biggest angle he's ever given in his life at that point, where it's the Dangerous Alliance.
Dangerous Alliance, yeah.
A new version of the Four Horsemen, where it's supposed to be Rick Rude, Larry Zbyszko, Arn Anderson, and Bobby Eaton, where Heyman would play J.J. Dillon, and Medusa would be Baby Doll.
Right.
But Heyman suggested they added one more person, and it was a guy called Stunning Steve Austin. I don't know if you heard of him.
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, a guy from Texas with long blonde hair at that point.
Blonde hair, very pretty boy. Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. With the robe, with the luscious robe, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a southern boy from Texas is built from Los Angeles, California.
Right.
As Stunning Steve Austin, but I mean that's early wrestling days, but
nice.
Stone Cold Steve Austin for anybody that's not
exactly
well aware. But looking back on that, for me, it's insane that all of them, at least for like Rick Rude, who's already an established star,
right?
Steve Austin, who's supposed to be the next up and comer,
Right.
And there's Paul Heyman in the middle of them talking for all of them.
Right. Right. Yeah, it worked. I mean, I remember clearly, watching WCW back then, and it worked. And he did the perfect. He was the perfect role for that. Hype man, talk man. Uh, Almost kind of like their version of Bobby the Brain Heenan, where he was the one that would just have always the right thing to say, exactly when to say it. They could just stand there and not say one damn word and still get over.
Well,
Just on the words coming out of Paul Heyman's mouth, right? He would hype them up and talk them up like they were, like you said, the next best thing. And it was all business. All business.
and it's definitely one of those things too. When you look at Rick Rude, where Rick Rude is a great talker, there was really no need to have a talker for him.
Right.
But just the presence of having a Paul Heyman type of guy, Bobby Heenan type of guy, it made him feel much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And for a guy like Steve Austin here, who pretty much these two are still learning at the same time, but
right.
It's just insane to think that at this time too, Heyman was helping people with promos.
Yeah.
That's probably the insane thing. You think, like nowadays, you have like these old veterans that are like in their 60s talking to people about their promos. These guys are pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
And Heyman's like, let me help you on your promos. Like that's
Yeah.
to me, like that's unheard of. But that just shows you how big of a talker Heyman is, or how great of a talker he was.
Yeah, he just has the gift of gab, and I mean, you could imagine him as a little kid in school, always getting in trouble for not shutting up. But yeah, he had the gift of gab, and just knows exactly what to say, how to say it, with what tone, what phrasing, and he just gets you. He would always get you with like I remember watching him as a kid and thinking, God, this guy is so obnoxious. He was so obnoxious to me, but at the same time, it worked for me.
I was about to ask you, was WCW the first time you actually saw him on television?
Yes.
Okay.
In WCW, yeah. Like I said, he just came off as this obnoxious little prick, but it worked. Like you wanted to actually see more of him. You wanted to hear more of his words come out of his mouth. You wanted to see what he was going to do with that phone. Who was he going to smack upside the head? And you also want to see him get his ass kicked.
What?
Because he was a little twerp.
Is it fair to say he has talked more in the business than get his ass kicked overall?
Yeah, I would say so. He's had his moments where he's gotten his butt handed to him, but the talking has definitely been his strong suit in the business.
Mm-hmm.
He really hasn't. I mean, I think he played it smart with limiting how much physicality he did in the ring.
Right, because at this time when he's in WCW, I believe the only physical match he may have had was like a tuxedo match with Jim Cornette.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I believe this is when Jim Cornette also had like a torn ACL too.
It was horrible.
But
it's just the picture. I mean, I'm picturing those moments in my head right now, and I'm like, oh my God, it was like two old ladies fighting in a cat fight.
Right.
Look at that.
I mean, I think that's early Rikishi and Sabu.
He's been in the bloodline since day one.
I mean, sure, we'll get into that, but I feel like it's like one of those things where, as a fan, was it always a thing to see like a manager have many people to like manage as well? Because I mean, like if you watch one program and Paul Heyman's has 9 clients on one show, you're thinking, okay, what the hell is going on? Or like,
I mean, yeah, back then, the faction was a very big, or the stable. They were called stables back then. It was a very big thing, and then I mean, you saw it in WWF and you saw it in WCW. Like, the stable was like, if you weren't in a stable, then who the hell were you? Kind of. That's how it felt.
Right.
Like once you were brought into somebody's stable, whether it was the Horsemen or Bobby Heenan family or the Dangerous Alliance or Jimmy Hart's, stables, it felt like you made it. Because this person who's a manager who is supposed to be very influential saw something in you and brought you in.
Right.
Just
seeing this picture, I mean, it's pretty much one.
Jim Cornette.
I mean, we'll look at this picture, and let's be real here. a lot of people consider both these two the goats in this world.
I know. They sure are. Back then, it's like, look
And
at you, Cornette.
and two completely different styles too.
Yeah, you see Heyman looks classy with the white shirt. Jim Cornette looked like he pulled a suit out from 1975. This canary yellow ruffled shirt with the freaking burgundy cummerbund and bow tie. That man never knew how to dress, by the way. He would put the worst color combinations. Purple, blue, green all together. And I was like, what is Jim Cornette doing?
But wouldn't you think that he's doing that on purpose for heat? Would you think he's doing that for heat, though?
Of course, because it's just garish. Unless he was colorblind and he just didn't know what the hell he was throwing on.
Because I mean, wasn't his thing too like he was a mama's boy, where like if he didn't get his mama would send him money so he could do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah, he would throw a tantrum and get his money, right?
Think about this, everybody. Paul Heyman is from New York, and Vince Russo is from New York. I think Jim Cornette tolerates Heyman more than Russo.
Yeah, and I don't blame him one bit, because at least Paul Heyman is a professional.
I guess that's also a thing too, is that Heyman actually respects the business, and Russo just
did not give a shit.
Slight tangent, but moving on to Heyman. So he has the Dangerous Alliance, and I think we're always going to run into this problem as we keep going, that he keeps running his mouth. So when the angle dies down, he's then put on commentary with JR.
Right.
Where I think it's like one of those interesting combinations too with like Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman and JR as a commentator duo. Not talking about like later on, but they did like WrestleMania 17 in the Alliance era, but early days hearing them two talk, where Heyman would be that commentator that always asks the follow-up questions, where the lead commentator would be like, "Wait, what? I'm not supposed to answer the question, or like I'm not supposed to give you more details."
He really knew how to put the color in the color commentary.
And there'd be nights too where like he would get on Jim Ross's nerves. He'd be like, "Listen, stupid, I don't have the damn answer for you."
Yeah, he was great.
And then just be like fake, or not like fake, but like legit. They would get on each other's nerves. At least Heyman would do that to JR, but Heyman reveals that he did that just to get the best out of JR, which is insane.
It worked though. They had great chemistry. You know, you had the straight-laced JR, Jim Ross, and then you had Paul Heyman with his smart mouth on the side, being a brat, because they also had a bit of an age gap. But there they go. You know? And it always worked. Like, I'll always remember watching, like you know, before the TV shows, right? They would have the little lead-in ads before the show started. So, like, I would watch, like, they used to show Captain Planet right before WCW.
What a weird lead-in to
It really was. It really was, but it worked, you know, because kids are watching, right? So you want the kids to keep watching. And they would show the little previews before, and it would be Jim Ross and Paul just quipping with each other and just bantering with each other before the show started. And Paul would always have the last laugh in whatever they were talking about. Literally, like in this picture, he's laughing. That's how it would be all the time.
You're probably wondering, before they hit the camera, he probably said something, or he's probably thinking of something on the top of his head, like, I'm going to get JR.
Yeah, I'm going to catch
either
him
now or later on. It always was something like that, but
yeah.
As WCW days come to an end, legally, you can't say why. I mean, God only knows what he said to the WCW owners, that they said, you know what, fuck off. We'll pay you out the year. We'll sit at home. Just leave us alone.
But can we also, like, before we go to that, like, it was something that was in my head, like how he brought in, I mean, I don't know if he brought in, but he had Jason Hervey, the actor from The Wonder Years, who played the obnoxious brother on The Wonder Years, just joining in with him on TV in WCW. Basically, a little mini version of him, you know, like a little freaking obnoxious little snot-nosed spoiled brat.
Now, is
random.
Isn't Jason Hervey like business partners with Eric Bischoff these days?
I am not sure. Actually, I really haven't seen much about him.
Because I always hear
Period.
when I always hear about Jason Hervey, it's always with Eric Bischoff. Because
I mean,
I think they run a company together. It's like Bischoff and Hervey Productions or something.
it could be. You know, I'm sure he's still involved in the entertainment business somehow.
And not for nothing, I've barely watched an episode of The Wonder Years. Is this the kid?
Yes, that's him.
Okay,
And it
so
was just
I'm not. I think I've seen clips of The Wonder Years, not a full episode.
yeah.
But every time in wrestling, when I hear Jason Hervey, I always think of like TNA era when like, Bischoff was running. Him and Jason Hervey were together. That's the only thing I hear about him. But I mean,
Oh yeah, no,
I
he
mean,
yeah. They,
I'm looking at this picture. Man, I would knock him out if he tried to step to me.
isn't that something like he makes Paul Heyman look huge in this photo? Like that just shows you how twerpy this kid was. But it was just the most random, like of all people, Jason Herb, because I used to watch The Wonder Years. I love that show as a kid. And then one day he just pops up and I'm like, what the hell is he doing here?
And he's not there to promote Wonder Years. He's just there
to be part of the show.
Bischoff and Hervey share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. See, I always knew that fact. And then it's always followed up with, oh, Jason Hervey, the guy from the Wonder Years. It's like, oh, okay.
I just pulled up a little something here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
He was dating Missy Hyatt.
Wasn't she dating everybody though?
I know, but was he a child?
Uh-oh. I mean,
unless it was kayfabe dating her.
I will say though, it's Missy Hyatt, so I was just like I was going to write that. You jumped the gun. He probably had that as well, but
Sorry. Now I gotta look this up. Were they really dating, or was it just kayfabe?
My guess, I'm just assuming it was a hookup. That's just my guess.
There's pictures of them like at a park together, and I don't know. I can't tell. I honestly cannot tell.
Real life dating.
It looks like a photo shoot, so I don't know.
Jay says real life dating.
Real life dating. Wow. I mean, he was a kid.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Just one last thing before we move on. I just want to know like how if you can figure this out, how old he was back in 90. Let's say 1990. As far as a year gap for you to look that up, but
he's 53 now. He's my brother's age.
He's 53 now, so that means he's probably he was already 20 at that point, wasn't he?
If it was 1990, that's 35 years ago. He was only 18. 17, 18 maybe.
And what, Missy Hyatt's also in her early 20s, mid 20s?
Missy Hyatt. I think she's in her 60s now, no?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
61.
Right. But
so she was almost 10 years older than him.
Hervey was 20 at the time. Okay.
It's still kind of gross, but whatever. He's still a kid in my head.
The more you know.
She was predating on this man. Wow.
She was perving on him?
Yeah.
Perving on Hervey?
Yeah. Like, dude played a teenager on a TV show, man.
Okay.
Okay, Missy.
Seriously, Missy. But back to Paul Heyman. Paul E. dangerously. So pretty much he gets written off TV. WWE gets kicked in the ass, told to go home, fuck off. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, do we just assume he clashed with management at the time?
I could see that.
Because I mean, again, it's like a guy that pretty much like he has an idea. They like the idea, but they're like, not for you. We're gonna do it something else. Or blah blah.
I could definitely see him ruffling feathers, especially if around this time with Turner,
right,
being involved, and these execs probably coming in that had no idea about the business, right? Getting involved, and he might have said the wrong thing to the wrong person, and next thing you know, he's getting his head chopped off, and you gotta go.
Because I know there's one shoot interview where Jim Cornette talked about how Ric Flair, when he was the booker around this time, he told Heyman to go out there, cut a promo, get yourself over. And pretty much Heyman went out there and did a shoot style promo, pretty much like pulling the curtain half back a little bit.
Right.
And then Ric Flair being like, who is this guy? Who the fuck does he think he is? And he went up to Heyman and said, go fuck off. Go home.
Mm-hmm.
And then Heyman was sarcastically like, okay, I'll see you next week. He's like, no, you're not coming back next week. You're not coming back the next week after. You're never coming back. And then pretty much that was the exit for Paul E. Dangerously from WCW, which is one of those what if things where what if he stayed?
Right.
Can you imagine him booking or at least trying to book the NWO?
I know. He probably would have done a hell of a lot better job than anybody else would have.
Also, if you give him, we always joke about with Vince McMahon, like with his toys.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine Paul Heyman with the toys of like a Hulk Hogan, a Macho Man Randy Savage, a Lex Luger? It's like oh my god.
Yeah, I think he would have came up with a lot better storylines for them, and probably wouldn't have had 50 million people in the NWO. He would have contained it. He would have had. I think he would have just done a much better job. And wouldn't have imploded within itself the way it did with Russo and Bischoff, with their little grubby hands all over it,
I definitely would be a fly on the wall when Heyman has to talk to Hogan about a booking idea. Like, oh, that's not working for me, brother. Like, fuck you, Hulkster. You need to do this.
Exactly.
like the Heyman motivation thing. Like, I try to do that on Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's just sitting there like, no, brother.
Who's this little kid, man? Get this little kid out of my face.
Who's this Markomaniac?
Markomaniac.
But 1980. So this was one of the interesting things I didn't know from watching the documentary and looking into it. He was planning on going head to head with Howard Stern on the radio in 1983. But WCW owner at the time called him out on it, saying, "You want to change the business so badly. Meanwhile, you're running away like a pussy to go do radio." So that's when he does a favor for Eddie Gilbert and Eastern Championship Wrestling. Now, we did a whole full episode on ECW, but
yes, we did.
We're going to talk about ECW with Heyman there. So if you want to listen to the ECW episode that we did on its own, we'll look on the channel, and it's right there for you, everybody. The history of ECW.
Oh, we could link it too.
That too. I always say link it, but Jay never does it. So maybe if you say, he'll do it.
Link it, Jay. Link it.
He was offered a radio host spot on Hot 97 New York City. Yeah, that's well. He says early. He said in the early 90s that he was offered a radio spot to go head to head with Howard Stern. So it was going to be morning show versus morning show. That's what he claims. This is another one of those things where we talk about Paul Heyman, where it's either taken with a grain of salt or maybe there was something to it and he just didn't fulfill it. But that's what the man says.
The ECW episode.
Yeah, well, in the episode later on when this is out, so everybody can go watch that, because we're going to talk about ECW with Paul Heyman in charge, where he goes there initially just to be manager, help people out for promos. Eddie Gilbert gets fired, and then Todd Gordon says, "Here's the book. Have fun, Paul." And the fun then proceeded to have fun. I mean, also too.
At last.
when we're talking about early images where we see Heyman with a young Undertaker, young Stone Cold, seeing Paul Heyman manage Jimmy Superfly Snuka as ECW champion is one of those weird images where I wish that was fake, and that wasn't a fake. That wasn't a real fucking thing. And then so he gets the book, and then ECW turns into what it turns into, the fan loved cultist like promotion that I think, as we talked about, changed the business for the better at the time.
Absolutely.
Because he says, childish bullshit on WCW and WWF at the time. I mean, the Goon, Doink the Clown, Big Josh in WCW, like weird, like Arachnaman, that was like a Spider-Man ripoff in WCW.
Yeah.
I mean, for me to even pull that out my ass, it's like one of those things where it was real, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you wonder, like, how many ideas did he have stewing in his head for years while he was working in WCW that kept getting either shot down, rejected, or he wouldn't even bring it up because he knew that they would say nope.
Right.
And now here he is in ECW. Like you said, they gave him the book. It's all yours. You have all the freedom, all the creative freedom in the world to create something. Go for it. And he just let loose. It's like it all just came spilling out of his head. Every single depraved storyline he could have come up with all came out.
He was in charge of the land of the misfit toys, where you have a bunch of wrestlers who never made it big, don't know how to, or he's like know like what you do when you make it big. They would do their wrestling match and then go do a line of coke in the corner or do some random drug that they had in their system.
At the time, they were just a bunch of people working in the local scene that were never gonna be, like you said, they were never gonna make it big because they didn't have the look or they didn't have the kind of persona that was coveted by the bigger promotions.
I mean, iconic characters. The Sandman was a weird looking surfer dude. Then he turns into this beer drinker that kicks ass with a Singapore cane.
That's it. That's all he did.
Tommy Dreamer, you can say he was the third American male. Right. Then he turns into this insane hardcore icon that never give up.
I mean, when you really think about it, they didn't have gimmicks. They were just real people wearing sweatpants and t-shirts.
I mean, the Tasmaniac, pretty much was the Looney Tunes, like real life adaptation of Taz.
Right, and then he just kicked ass.
Turns to this angry orange man from Red Hook, New York, just kicks ass, named Taz.
Right, just suplexing the shit out of everybody left and right.
And everybody says, he was just always so angry. I mean, he was just always so pissed off. It's like, but it's also like, Heyman's in charge of all these people, and then you include guys like New Jack, Public Enemy, and incredible wrestlers like Lance Storm, Rob Van Dam.
Right.
And all of them are mixed in with like Heyman part ECW 95 from Todd Gordon. And then once Heyman got complete control of it and the book was taken away from Todd Gordon, ECW exploded.
Yes, it did.
I mean, from the initial Shane Douglas throwing the NWA title to the ground and constantly burying Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, all the NWA champions. But it's also too when ECW brought in Terry Funk, who pretty much was the only veteran. This is what they say: the only veteran that was like selfless as well, who was willing to put everybody over. Right. Sabu, Raven. He did the most for ECW to help it grow.
Yeah, he sure did. Because he knew he was at the stage of his career where he's not in his prime anymore. But he could help others get there. He still had it in him. And he has some iconic, with Cactus Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Just iconic violence. And that was exactly what he wanted, to contribute to. And they tapped into that audience that was just bloodthirsty. A mature audience that wanted to see real violence, real fighting, real, not just little kiddie stuff that they were unfortunately exposed to with WWF and WCW.
I mean, Paul Heyman did give them all the blood in the world, but he also provided them fantastic wrestling. I mean, Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, their matches in ECW as well. Guys like Chris Benoit early in their careers would come by and just be incredible. I mean, early Chris Jericho, Lionheart. Nobody people knew who he was coming from Mexico, but when he came over to the States, and then once he moved on, he became a big old name in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, and people, the wrestlers wanted to be on ECW. They were like, "This is hot. It's hot right now, and and we could go to our full potential of what we could truly do without having handcuffs on."
Yeah, and also too, everybody gives this man the credit for bringing in the luchadors.
Yes.
For bringing in for like Rey Mysterio, your Psychosis, Conan, all those guys that came overseas.
Yeah.
Came over the border from Mexico.
Right.
And they'll incorporate their style of lucha with the hardcore style. I mean, you have like Ray doing hurricanranas off of cars.
Right.
And I mean, you also still have your weird like mid card, lower card. I don't know how you describe it. I mean, 911 was running around giving people choke stitches and fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that was the thing on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think for him, like does Jay puts use the '90s culture to draw in wrestling fans.
Music.
Right. I mean, a lot of things too, like Heyman did. It seems easy on paper when you look back on it, but it's like, why do you think back then there was like such a resistance to like do that? Like for the WCW, WWE, like why do you think it was so hard for them to say, you know what, let's go with the times? Like why?
I think they just still believed in the whole, rock and wrestling cartoon style of entertainment. They saw in their audience was just a bunch of little kids, and they wanted to continue catering to the kids and their parents, and they didn't want to rock that boat. They didn't want to have, censorship thrown on them for whatever reason. They were on broadcast TV. They weren't, on major cable channels quite yet. So I think they were just working with what they had. Whereas ECW was on some random channel
Right.
in the middle of the night, where the only people who are awake are randos watching TV and catching their attention, putting on some great music as the background soundtrack of the show, lots of chains and all the grunge and eventually, metal and new metal bands that were coming up in the 90s.
Right.
And that caught the attention of all those adults. They weren't scared to do it, whereas the other promotions just, they were held back by, I guess by media and money. Like they didn't want to lose sponsors. They didn't want to lose investors,
But it's not like I get it. So like the audience is, once you have a product that's strictly for your audience, I get it. But it's also like Jay, like at the time, I'm just imagining little Jay to be watching both the WWF and ECW, but it's also like he likes both styles. But it's not like he would be the only person in that audience to be like, oh, I like R&B, I like hip hop, I like rap, and all this stuff. Meanwhile, like the little white boy next to him is like, oh, I just like the good, clean, bullshit. Like that type of thing. Like little Jay was in his 20s. Okay, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, sir. But there's also too, it's like that's but that's your demographic too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like I mean, like you said, like if these kids are growing up.
Right, exactly. The little kids from the 1980s were no longer little kids. We were teenagers and young adults.
I mean,
and I say we because I was up that Saturday night at 2:00 watching ECW.
Why is my TV turning on all of a sudden?
Yeah, you have a ghost in your apartment.
Well, you know what it is too. Is my nephew's in the other room probably playing Just Dance. So great. So I better make sure I turn this shit off.
Gotcha. But can I just say also, like, that picture of Paul that popped up, how drastically he changed his look.
Well, also too, I mean, this is definitely Paul Heyman that has not slept for an extended period of time.
But it was just, for me, it was just such a shock because I was so used to seeing him in his suits with his perfectly styled mullet, with his sunglasses, with his phone. And then suddenly it's like he went from that to letting his hair grow all long, his facial hair coming in, the baseball cap, the long coat, the sweats and t-shirt. Like he just said, fuck it, I'm no longer this character. I'm me, and this is who I'm going to be. Just this dark little entity.
I get what you're saying, because not for
it was
when
unrecognizable for me at first. I'm like, who is this? I'm like, wait, what?
I mean, it's definitely a drastic change from like clean shaven, like nice suit wearing Paul Heyman,
right?
To long black trench coat. Probably doesn't shave, doesn't sleep. Maybe some nights.
Somebody's basement.
I mean, also too, like when you're watching ECW, because I know you were, but
yes.
How did you feel when they chanted Paul is God? Like, did it ever feel weird, or like, do you think fans maybe took things a little too far? Because I know there's appreciation for your favorite people, but it's like when you compare them to God.
I mean, yes, look at him. I mean, it was pretty extreme. Not no pun intended there, but I could understand. Like you said, it was very cultish, and I could understand how they saw him as this figure that was just bringing something new to them. It was bringing to them the dream wrestling that they've always wanted to see here in the States, They didn't have to continue looking for it and like looking for Japanese wrestling VHSs or Mexican VHSs. Like they were finally able to see it for themselves. They were able to go in person to ECW Arena, to the Hammerstein, and watch it for themselves and immerse themselves in this crazy show because the wrestlers in the audience fighting with each other. And for them, they were like, "Thank you, Paul. You brought us something that we finally wanted, and yeah, you're God to us."
Wow. Which, by the way, ECW times, those were the clearest chants you could ever hear. Like today, like everybody's like mumbled, or like people say different things in different arenas, but you can hear those like "Thank you, Paul." Paul is God chants. I mean, holy! Like it was like you said. I mentioned. Yeah, ECW ran on the old Queen's Elks Sludge. I mean, they have very, very memorable moments too in the ECW arena, where here at Elks Lodge and at the ECW Arena 2300, where pretty much when they ran those buildings, that's their whole base. But then once they started going outside of where they went from, I mean, it was great to see, but behind the scenes, we talked about it too, where it was a detriment because all that stuff costs money.
Absolutely, you got to travel with all your equipment and set up different production. You have to rent out different venues, and flying. Wrestlers have to be flown out or driven out, most likely road tripping it. Yeah, it was financially probably a big burden on ECW and on Paul's pocket because he was the one that was basically, investing into every little aspect of ECW.
Because he also got money from his father, his mother.
Right.
His mother was also a part of, in charge of the merch, and he fired her.
So cold. Fire your own mother.
Because maybe something with money dispute, but just like, could you just imagine, like, hey, mom, you're fired. But it's also too like ECW had their fair share of legal battles where some ECW guys were not keen to the law, New Jack,
right?
Where like Paul had where wrestlers had to stop what they're doing in their lives and go to court and talk about the bullshit that they did, whether it was in the ring or outside the ring. Because I mean, I think the big chair incident too, where I forget who it was the Public Enemy or it was Public Enemy, Cactus Jack, and Terry Funk, but one of them said we need a chair. And they got up and threw the chair into the ring, and I always love that moment where Funk gets stalked in the head and just falls down.
I thought he was dead. Listen, I remember watching that, and I'm like, oh my god, they just killed Terry Funk because the way he dropped like a bag of bricks.
It was so cartoonish, though.
There, it was, but like he was knocked, like legit knocked out because he didn't see the chair coming.
Right.
He was just out, and people just still throwing chairs in the ring, and I'm like, stop throwing the chairs! You're gonna kill him! You're gonna kill him!
I mean, you hear the ring and like, everybody stop throwing the fucking chairs.
That's why when I go to any kind of hardcore wrestling show and they start throwing things, I'm like, we gotta go because once they run out of throwing bottles, they're gonna start throwing chairs. We gotta go.
Can you ever imagine House of Glory? Like, if that moment ever happened, people throw chairs, the chairs would be bouncing off the fucking ceiling, off that metal thing. Being, oh Jesus, it's over.
It's done. No, we're gonna have to run.
Yeah. So we talk about financial problems where also too like when the wrestlers talk about how they would exchange plane tickets, where pretty much it's like. You have to remember, okay, this is your family member that died. You have to. This is the prepaid for this ticket. Blah blah blah. And then I think we talked about too how like pretty much it was mishandled everything. Where if like, anything with money, it was hard to.
I mean, it's like you had mentioned, like the wrestlers themselves were handling the money.
Right. I mean, I think we talked about too. Like Taz was in charge of like designing shirts.
Right.
Like, can you imagine the angry little orange man designing T-shirts for everybody else?
I know. It's so funny seeing him in front of his computer working with Photoshop, Paint Shop Pro.
I know.
He probably didn't even use any of that. He probably used freaking Microsoft clip art.
So then, as the boys are talking about, Paul Heyman pretty much disappeared by the end of 2001. Where I think I remember going back and watching some episodes of like late ECW, and there was barely a mention of Paul, like nothing really, because I don't know if like how much of a in storylines he was, but when he made appearances, it was like, okay, something serious is going on, or
Right.
like shit's about to go down, but everything was
Right.
made. Everything was made in his parents' basement. I mean,
Of course.
all those promos too, where he would bring like Stone Cold Steve Austin would cut those famous promos in his mom's fucking basement.
Right.
But
Hilarious.
but on Paul's end, it's pretty much filed for bankruptcy. There was ECW
Right.
had pretty much not much time left, and then he goes off to the WWF. Jerry Lawler leaves to go chase his young wife, and Paul Heyman's now on commentary with Jim Ross just in time for the biggest WrestleMania of all time at that point.
Right.
Where this is where another one of those things where people look at Paul Heyman's career and say, "You lucky son of a bitch." Because you could have been out of business, sitting on your ass with no money. Now you're in the WWF. And I got to ask you, because there's always this rumor thing, too, where, because it would be some talent from the WWF would show up in ECW.
Right.
And then ECW would do, like, they had the Invasion thing in the WWF.
On Raw, right.
Heyman says he never received a check from them. Do you call bullshit on that? Or do you think there's some type of agreement where like, Heyman was, like, secretly working for Vince McMahon? Because I think, like Stephanie talked about, that there'd be phone calls, like he'd call the house, and then Vince would run into his office, and they'd talk for like hours. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was hiding. He was hiding that, with the excuse that he never got paid. I can't see Vince not paying him.
Right.
Like Vince may not have been the most moral businessman, but I think when it came to money, he made sure that people got paid.
Huh.
To the best of his financial ability. Maybe some of the wrestlers that were involved in the Invasion story, like the early on Invasion storyline, maybe they didn't get paid, like Sabu.
Wow.
Jumping off the sign.
or falling.
Yeah, but yeah, I could see Paul and Vince having a secret business relationship. Where they may have been in agreement, if anything happened to ECW, he had a place to fall back on.
But my thing is like if this is one of those things where it's like it seems like a Mark thing where it's like, why keep that private? Like what? Because you just want to work your talent, saying like, oh, they're the enemy, fuck them. Meanwhile, I'm getting a paycheck because guess what? I'm developing talent for Mr. McMahon. Like what? Really?
Kayfabe. That's it. It's kayfabe.
Yeah, but the ECW roster is stupid.
Well, they didn't. They were too busy getting doped up from everything they were doing. They probably didn't even see it right for them. But Paul kept it quiet because of kayfabe. That man always lived that life. To this day, he'll still do it.
But what do you think it is? Is it like pride, where he doesn't want to admit, like, oh, I took an extra check from the competition?
Maybe it was pride, or maybe, like I said, he just kept it to himself because he didn't want to pull that curtain back for whatever reason.
I guess, but
only he knows.
Because we're looking at on paper, black and white. It's a working relationship. It's like, hey, I'll send over a couple of guys for you to use on your show. Like I think one of those like Brackus or Al Snow. Like Al Snow would then go to ECW and become who Al Snow would then be.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Paul Heyman would send over Too Cold Scorpio, and then he would become Flash Funk.
Right.
Like that's a business agreement. Like what? And then what's the wrong with saying? Oh, and I got $1,000 for doing that and helping promos. Like I don't. It's like one of those like weird pride things. With like, if
not only that, but think about like if like the ECW roster would have gotten wind of it, right? Like, why did you choose that guy to go? What about me?
Right.
It would have caused a lot of tension between him and the workers.
I guess so.
Where they painted it in under this guise of just so happened to be noticed by WWF and they recruited him, and now he signed. Because
the Paul Heyman has to say like, oh, like I didn't choose them, he did.
Right, like Vince wanted him.
Because then also Paul Heyman would then create a roster of bitter people that, God forbid, if ECW went under, guess where they're not going to go now?
Right.
Because apparently he doesn't want me.
Right.
I guess that's understandable.
Yeah, he
But
was trying to rock no boats.
I guess, and also too, I mean, early days, I think those rumors of Heyman maybe joining WCW again, but I think that was one of those weird things where, like, if you add him in the mix in 2000 with Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff, it's like who can destroy what first?
I mean, who knows? He probably could have helped save it.
I mean, because I think we always put Paul in this positive light. Like, he could save anything. I mean, he did. But realistically, he did save ECW.
Right.
I mean, he was out of options, but it's also like he's not this big savior everybody says he is.
Right.
If that was the case, ECW would still be going.
Absolutely.
AEW would be going, or would be lasting, or WCW would be lasting. We'd be talking about ECW as a second option, maybe.
Exactly.
To this day.
Absolutely, you're right.
Again, one of those what ifs. But it's also one of those things where, like I said, like, people paint Heyman in this light of, like, he's the savior. He saves his ass. That's pretty much what he does. He saves his own career, which is probably the best thing he could do. Where, like, selfishly, he needs to look out for himself.
Right. Absolutely.
But then he does help out his friends in the Alliance angle. He gets some jobs. I mean, because I think also too, where a lot of them, like RVD, was definitely getting looked at by Jim Ross and talent of saying, like, we need to get Tim on our roster, and where they did. So then Heyman goes from commentator to then on-screen character again before a brief bit. And then get ECW, pretty much Vince then buys everything, so he holds the copyright. But it saves Paul Heyman's pockets too, because he filed for bankruptcy. Now, I'm still learning everything as an adult, but bankruptcy, that's one of those bridges I haven't crossed yet. I don't know. God forbid if you ever experienced that, or
I have not. Thank God.
But do you know what bankruptcy is for anybody?
That's when bankruptcy is when you are so deep in debt, credit card, medical bills, whatever the case may be, your rent, whatever, to the point where you cannot keep up. You have no money, no kind of disposable income anymore to spend on paying your bills. And you have to file for bankruptcy, which basically will wipe out your debt, will wipe out your credit line, and you're literally starting from scratch. Base credit, base everything, and it affects your finances. It affects your credit score, your reputation, because it shows that you were not that savvy with your money. Even though sometimes things happen because you lose your job and you can't find a new job, and now how are you going to keep up with your bills? Or you're depending on credit cards to make it day to day, and it just overwhelms you. So that's basically what happened with him. It's just the costs were just too much for him to keep up with. He just did not have the finances coming in to handle it, and he had to file for bankruptcy, and that's it.
Wow.
Because I mean,
let's also be real too. He did write some checks, and a lot of the wrestlers claim all of them bounced. So
they bounced because he was writing the checks, but just didn't have the money in the bank to cash them.
But with him filing for bankruptcy, that kind of helped them not get involved in the situation, right? That's what I think I gather from that situation. Because if Paul Heyman were to go to court, there'd be a line of wrestlers saying, "Hey, I have exhibit A, B, C checks bounced that this man still owes me," and then the court would be like, "Okay, where's the money?" And then,
there's no money, right?
Yeah,
he has no money to be able to pay this off. Like it gets wiped off completely,
Wow.
I mean, it's a very negative impact, like I said, on your credit score and your credit history. But sometimes it's like a necessary evil for some people to be able to start over again.
Wow.
And also, some companies use it as a way of getting out of their business transactions. I mean, look at Donald Trump. He bankrupted. How many times did he file for bankruptcy? Like a dozen times.
Making sure there's no snipers around. But
no ice at my door. My sister, I was born here, bro.
FBI, open up! Oh shit! Okay, never mind. But so Heyman is now back pretty much in the mix of WWE commentator. They take him off TV for a little bit, and then he becomes the manager.
Yes.
of one young prospect that is pegged to be the future of the company, and his name is Brock Lesnar.
Correct.
Now, despite what is going on now with him,
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what Ari thought of young Brock Lesnar in 2002.
Gosh. I mean, he was definitely remarkable to see. He was just this big, monstrous dude. um, but at the same time, yeah, he was talented, but I felt like he was only getting that push because of how big he was.
Of course.
Because you had
Well,
other guys
I mean,
there coming in that were even more talented than he was, in my opinion.
I mean, we know who the boss was, but
Right, he gets hard-ons for the big boys, but
I will say like the pairing of him and Heyman. Did you think like okay, like are you see like where this might go, or
I thought it was unorthodox in the beginning, but I could see why they paired him up because he needed that. He needed that speaking voice next to him because Brock is not that great on the mic. He's just a big galoot.
right?
And it made perfect sense to pair him up with somebody that was going to do all the talking and all the business for him. And he just went in there and kicked ass.
Yeah.
And like you said, like he was considered the next big thing. That's what they called him, right? The next big thing. And who better than Paul Heyman to jump on that bandwagon and take advantage of having the next big thing behind him?
Because they talk about how they pretty much came together where, like Taz was telling Heyman, like, listen, this kid's getting the worst advice ever. When I hear that, I'm thinking, like, what kind of advice are they giving Brock Lesnar that like it could be the worst advice ever? Like what are they telling this kid to do? Like I never understand like that lingo where it's like I mean like you give people advice, but it's like what could possibly be like what the God's honest worst? It's like so Heyman goes over, talks to him, and pretty much after a couple conversations, it's like okay, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And of course, Vince just goes, I'm gonna put you with him, and it's always interesting because when you look back at the microscope. Stone Cold's about to go away. Hulk Hogan's back for one more run. The Rock's here for a little bit. Then he's off to the movies.
Right.
Triple H is as big as ever. Undertaker is like still dominant as ever. RVD, Booker T. Like the landscape of 2002 drastically changed.
Yeah, and then like now, and then you remember like Brock came in along with John Cena and Randy Orton, Batista, and even though he kind of fell off the wayside, Shelton Benjamin. They all came in at once.
All four of them were on the same show initially. They were all on SmackDown at one point.
Exactly. So it was just like this. You had, like you said, the established stars still rocking, and then you had these amazing up and comers, just freaking workhorse, athletic phenom wrestlers coming in together at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was creating like I felt like, with he was able to stand out on his look, on his size, and his style, obviously, because he was so freaking tough in the ring, throwing people around left and right like nothing.
Wow.
But he really lucked out because when you had guys like Randy Orton, who was a third generation star, he had the name alone behind him. And somebody like John Cena, who had the personality behind him, the charisma that he came in with.
Keep this up, because I want to mention this too, because so he gets paired with Brock Lesnar on TV, and meanwhile they're on Raw. But meanwhile, Paul Heyman is one of the writers for SmackDown, and as
correct,
he's critically praised Reign as general. I'm going to revise that because he was one of the writers of SmackDown. Revitalized the UPN show's sinking ratings. His role as head writer, however, went SmackDown to its highest ratings in the years of UPN. Where it was always fun. It was funny hearing this because when Raw would do their phone calls, their meetings, Paul would intercept the phone calls somehow and they learn what they were doing that week, so that he could book a better SmackDown. And Heyman's booking philosophy seems easy on paper when you look at it. We have our established stars as The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Undertaker.
Right.
You have your rising star and Brock Lesnar, who's going to be in the mix with all three of them. And then you have your young core 6, the SmackDown 6, it would be called Kurt Angle, Edge, Benoit, Eddie, Chavo, and Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look back, like as history says, they beat Raw in the ratings for so many weeks. I mean, look at the product too. It was, don't tell me, like there was a big difference.
I prefer SmackDown.
I mean,
Big time over Raw back then. Big time. Yeah.
All 6 of those guys would put on tremendous matches. And what are they doing on Raw? Katie Vick, weird Triple H angle, like
Yeah, it was the Vince McMahon show.
or the Triple H show.
The Triple H show. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what it was.
But it's just insane where, again, like Paul Heyman, the genius of ECW and all this other stuff, has this prominent role on SmackDown as a writer. Mm. And this is where, once again, I think his style, his personality, where he's clashing with Stephanie and Vince McMahon, the two big McMahons are in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Where I need to hear your thoughts on this, because like they'll be in the meetings and like Paul would like pitch like 9 ideas, fight for maybe 5 of them to be all serious, and then where it be like talked about like these meetings were supposed to be like maybe go like an hour, maybe go longer, just with shouting matches with Paul and Vince. And Paul always referred to it as like he wanted to test Vince, but it's also like why do that? Like why test your boss? Like
this is Paul Heyman.
He's bored that day.
I don't know.
You want to see what reaction you get out of the old man?
Like, you know how you have said that he has said that he wanted to bring the best out of Jim Ross when they would do commentary together. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's probably what he was trying to do. Like he would see what was going on Raw and be like, "Come on, man, this show deserves better." Instead of having this show so focused on Vince McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, like you have all these other guys on your roster that are so awesome that could put on a hell of a show, and he probably would butt heads with Vince to try to bring that out of him, so he could see like, dude, you have a roster that you need to work with. Look at what's going on SmackDown. Look, we're utilizing everybody on the show right now to the best of their ability. Do the same with you, like do them justice. No. And of course, Vince being Vince didn't like that probably, and yeah.
I was about to say that maybe definitely want Vince like to kind of like wake up,
right?
Like guess what? You're the only fucking promotion running in the States right now.
Exactly.
Like do the best you can. You have this roster on Raw. Like it's weird saying this because Paul Heyman has his own roster to deal with. But he's also like look at Raw. Like look at the time. Like Rob Van Dam, Booker T. Shawn Michaels just came back. Triple H is still on top.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Kane, like all those guys on top. Jericho.
Exactly. I mean, he may have had his own roster, but they were all one company. He wanted to, if one roster fails, then the whole company is going to end up failing.
Yeah. But do you ever think like Paul wanted that head creative position?
Of course he did. There's no way he didn't want that. Come on. Imagine if he would have been able to control both rosters.
Wow.
He would have been in heaven. In heaven.
But it's also, too, I think for Vince's stance, maybe, too, like, because then I'm not getting the praise for it. It's fucking Jewish guy from New York, damn it. And that's how it would be. Like, Vince would, like, look at his, like, background, or, like, say, like, people want to work with him rather than me. And not for nothing. In the last couple of years, it's always been that case. It's always been revealed. How many wrestlers have we run into that got released from WWE and we see them in public and say, "Oh, I'm Vince, no relationship with him, but Hunter, different story." Right.
Exactly.
So it's like so pretty much at this point, it's again like the fly on the wall with me wants to see how Stephanie and Paul always interact because Stephanie would claim they clash, or like Paul would sneakily take talent away, start talking to their ear. It's also like because what a creative they came up with, Paul's in their ear, and then the next day the next moment they're like, I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And then they talk about how like Paul was like too deep, but it's like it always comes off as like creative jealousy to me.
Yeah, I just feel like Paul was all about the business.
Right.
We know this. And I just don't think he wanted to see these ideas getting stuck on these guys and girls that were trash when he knew that they deserve better.
He didn't want to see the fall on their face.
Right. He doesn't want. Yeah, exactly. He's like, these wrestlers deserve better than this shit storyline that the McMahons are throwing at them. Because maybe a lot of those storylines put the McMahons over. Let's face it. Not included Triple H.
Wow.
And by him, yeah, maybe for Stephanie and for Vince, him going into other people's ears and giving them like, just tell them you don't want to do this. For them, they probably felt like, he was looking out for himself, but he wasn't. He was looking out for the workers.
He's not towards the company line. It's like, this man wants to work for you for fucking. Like, he probably wants to own the damn company one day. Damn it! It's not like he's not trying to out you out of this business. Right. He knows who's in charge. It's the McMahon's business.
Right, exactly. He just wanted the business to get better. That's all.
One Paul Heyman is not going to dethrone all four McMahons. That's not going to happen. And he knew that too. But he knew, like, I feel in those stories, it's definitely was like helpful advice, right? Where it'd be like, okay, they tell you to do this, but also try and mix in a little bit of this. Like, show maybe you. Like, maybe that was also a thing too.
Right.
And then Stephanie, with a glee on her face, once said, like, oh, like Paul's the only writer I ever had to suspend.
Right.
Suspending a fucking writer?
It's just ridiculous because it's like this guy's just trying to help you out. He's just trying to help you out. Like, why would you because it's a power trip, It's a power trip.
Yeah, so he's dealing with that. He gets appointed SmackDown GM at 2003, 2004. Not really a really long run from what I remember. It didn't go. It pretty much ran from winter to spring. Like, he didn't make it, but he stayed on TV for a little bit. I mean, he was definitely paired with like interesting people. I mean, Heidenreich was a Paul Heyman guy at one point in his run. Where if you listen to the beginning of Heidenreich's theme song, it's just Paul Heyman screaming Heidenreich over and over again. That's Heyman's voice. But like I said, he was. Like Paul used to do these stupid things, but it's also too. It's like where it's like if Vince is telling you like we want competition. Don't tell that to Heyman because he's gonna take it fucking seriously.
Yeah, like I said, he's all about kayfabe. He's gonna be like, "Cool, let's do this. I'm gonna make this into a real freaking competition for you guys. Then let's do it. Like, let's make this a real. Like, I don't blame him, but there was nothing else to compete with
except each other.
And TNA was doing its own little thing on the side. Like nobody, they like you said, they only had each other to compete with. Make it feel like that was always my biggest problem is like if you guys really want to make this whole division with the two rosters, make it feel real. Make it feel like they're actually two different companies,
So Paul Heyman's tenure on SmackDown ends where pretty much Stephanie, I'm going to say Stephanie and Vince. It's pretty much the dynamic duo that pretty much had the most problems with Paul. Meanwhile, I think Shane always liked Paul.
I'm sure.
Which is pretty much the story for every Shane McMahon story. But
yeah, he probably saw a little bit of himself in Paul because he was a little bit of the black sheep of the family,
Right, and also as well as other things where Vince famously told Paul, he's like, well, he's like why don't? And people asked him like, why don't you just fire him?
Right.
But it's also Vince said, I'd rather him piss in the castle than him piss out the castle.
Right.
Because
there was the potential of him leaving and starting a new company again.
And guess where Paul Heyman now goes? He fills in for Jim Cornette when Jim Cornette got fired for slapping Santino over and over and over again. Then Paul Heyman goes in there, and once again, Paul Heyman spotting talent, despite what people may think of them nowadays. Or there's some notable ones they highlight, like Mr. Kennedy, Beth Phoenix, and your boy. CM Punk, who pretty much Paul Heyman had a chubby for the minute he met him, where where Punk was pretty much learning how to run a show, how to time a show, how to book a show, and then pretty much was Heyman saying like that was the best time of his life in OVW. And then they revitalize ECW. That's his big chance to come back to television.
Mm-hmm.
They say Paul and Shane is going to run it. It's going to be a WWE.com exclusive show.
Right.
And then the pay-per-view buyers say, we want that. We want that. We want ECW to be on pay-per-view. So then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, we know where that goes. They go,
Right.
it's a third roster where they give, I think, pretty much like Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam were taking off their shows. Big Show's taking off Raw to go to ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And they always talk about this draft too. It was like off screen, like pretty much the developmental, or like for Braun Spencer, who do they want to take?
Right.
Punk was taken first because Heyman saw this is going to be my future of ECW. Where it always came off as Paul Heyman was booking it, but that really was never the case.
Right.
Because Vince was always he had it by the throat. He's like, I'm going to do ECW the way I want to fucking do it.
Right, which was a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, you had the zombie, you had the priest dude come out and say like, masturbation is horrible, but then says like the Nacho Man. No, not the Nacho Man. There was definitely a Macho Man impersonator, but it was stupid.
Horrible.
Yeah, and then the final straw in this whole Paul E. Dangerously Paul Heyman run in WWE was ECW December to Dismember, where Paul Heyman pitches to have CM Punk make the Big Show tap out in the first minute of the match. Then at the end of it, CM Punk wins the whole chamber, becomes the new star of ECW, and Vince just said no. Punk is not your star, which I think if you were there back then, you'd be like, yay. But Vince was pretty much said like Bobby Lashley is my star. Put him over, and then Paul Heyman describes it that the argument they had on the plane. Like, I mean, I feel bad for the fucking the pilot.
I'm sure.
Because you just be hearing like fucking yelling, screaming.
Oh, like Jesus Christ, I can't even fly a plane in peace.
Two men arguing about wrestling. Like, shut the fuck up.
About one dude.
And that was the last time Heyman was on Vince McMahon's plane, and the last time they saw each other in December of 2006.
Wow.
So I think we covered that with the ECW episode too, where Heyman left, didn't do anything pretty much in the world of professional wrestling. He wrote a book with Brock Lesnar. He I think he was interested in MMA at the time too, like with UFC on the rise as well.
Right.
I mean, they definitely offered him a bunch of offers to come in and be in charge, but Dixie Carter didn't want to give away control, so that was one of those other things.
Yeah. Can you imagine those two button heads? Whew.
I mean, not for nothing, with how gullible Dixie Carter seems to be, Paul Heyman would have had the fucking world if he ran TNA. He would have had everything he wanted if he ran TNA.
That they would have been much more serious as contenders, I think.
Because also, if you look at that roster for TNA, I mean, Paul Heyman's not the type of booker that what fucks around. If he sees the roster of Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, like Mr. Anderson, like he sees these guys, he's like, I'm gonna make this look serious. Like I'm gonna treat it like we're the number fucking one. But
yeah, especially when he already knew their history.
Right. His relationship with everybody.
Right.
It's also too with him in that X division. I mean, a lot of those younger guys would definitely learn a lot from him.
Of what he could have accomplished with the X division. Oh my God, it would have been a true extreme division.
There was always that redheaded Karen.
That
Dixie Carter just did not want to give away control.
Nope, she was just whatever, man.
But that's another one-F story. But then when Brock Lesnar comes back, I think 2012? I want to say 2012, yeah.
Right.
When Brock Lesnar comes back, he cuts Haley Brian Gewirtz. I mean, I don't think anybody really likes Brian at this point. Because I think he's The Rock's personal writer, too.
I think so.
Yeah, but so when Brock Lesnar comes back, cuts 1, 2, 3 bad promos, goes to the gorilla, says, "I want Paul back. I need Paul." So that's when they have to call. That's when Vince has to make the phone call to all Paul Heyman.
Swallow his pride.
I think also I want to mention too, because at this time Heyman was doing the Heyman Hustle YouTube stuff. I wasn't paying attention to too much to that.
Me neither.
But it's definitely like Heyman was on the streets with the Paul Heyman look. He had the suits and he was growing facial hair, and he's at like porn conventions. He was pretty much a man on the streets. He was at whatever site he could be at and just do Heyman things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was one time like, he was in a bodega and like this old lady was walking past him. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like going to be on the Heyman Hustle."
What about freaking bodega? So New York.
Right. So they make the phone call. He makes his long. I think at that 5 years. 5 years at that point, or 6 years.
You know he was waiting for that phone call. You know he was like, I can't wait for the day they realize they need me again.
I don't think so, because he kind of revealed. Because at that point he was happy married. He had his kids.
Oh, yeah,
had kids at that time.
I'm sure life-wise he was in a good place, but you know his ego wanted that phone call.
Maybe like the little devil on his shoulder was like, look who's calling.
Yeah, of course he was waiting. I'm telling you, he was waiting. He's like, they're gonna realize how badly they need me. It's gonna take a few years, but they're gonna do it.
And they bring it back, and pretty much it's all talent stuff. Like you're not like, but also it's not one of those things where you're on screen talent, but you're also a writer. You have to do this, and this. It's pretty much come on TV and be the advocate of Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And it was funny they brought him in. It was like as Brock Lesnar's attorney.
Yeah.
Because I think Brock was like sort of like get sued by the company for breaking Triple H's arm like twice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's like his lawyer representation is coming to the Raw tonight, and out walks Paul Heyman, and of course you have Michael Cole and J-Lo who sell it perfectly. And it's like, oh my god,
yeah,
like look who's back, like
uh-huh.
all Walrus face himself, like the insults he always would throw at Heyman.
Yes,
and then pretty much it was that point where when he came back, it was like nothing was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Where came out, my name is Paul Heyman, and I represent the Beast incarnate Brock Lesnar, and then it's off to the races.
Yeah.
Where then he's not just aligned with Brock Lesnar, he's aligned with his best friend CM Punk, and then did some weird things with him where like he had some offshoot Paul Heyman guys like Cesaro, Ryback, Curtis Axel. Like not that they're really like I will say Cesaro had potential, but
yeah,
it was definitely missed opportunities. But like Brock Lesnar would go break the streak, so then Heyman would fucking run for weeks, be like knock knock, who's there? Mike who? My client Brock Lesnar broke the Undertaker's undefeated streak. That's such
a Paul Heyman thing to do.
Yeah, he almost joined in 2010. Which pretty much when you look at that roster, if he had that roster in his hand, it could have been something bigger, bro.
I think so.
But from 2012 when he came back as Brock Lesnar's client, we've seen him for the past decade just continue to do the best work of his career.
Yeah.
And then talking about the last 5 years. 5 years of him with Roman Reigns in the bloodline.
Yeah.
And just the amount of crying, the amount of like lip quivers was like my tribal chief. I guess my tribal chief.
Oh my god, he does such a phenomenal job playing that little sniveling little henchman so wonderfully.
Like even a couple weeks ago when they were in London and they're doing the football shows like Roman Reigns, and Roman goes to it's like Paul's like Greece, he's like Roman Reigns. I
know, he's always in the background just coveting Roman like it was like his crush. That's how it always felt like he was crushing on Roman.
But it also felt too for the past decade that he's been back with decade plus. I think he's had the most fun in his whole career.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he's just
stress-free, doesn't have to worry about fucking spots, or he doesn't have to worry about bills or anything. Like not running the whole thing. He could be a part of the machine and have fun. He didn't go to TNA because he wanted just Carter Russo. Yeah, he wanted full control.
Yep.
Bro, no, not going away, bro. I know what I'm doing.
Would have been the best thing for them.
But the best thing for Heyman too was He gets inducted to the Hall of Fame. Gives the funniest,
Oh yes,
best speeches of the Hall of Fame.
great speech that was.
I'm gonna misquote it, but it's to this day. If you think ECW died in a bankruptcy court, you can suck my dick. Just the reactions the roster gave.
That was
Where,
great.
it's also too, I think, where he now has a better relationship with Stephanie too, where
Right.
like, it's not all business anymore. It's not business animosity between them, where they're hugging and like he jokingly says like, "Oh, she married the wrong Paul." She missed
I feel
out.
like Stephanie grew up.
I think that's also something too, where for Heyman as well, he grew up as well.
They both grew up. You know.
This loudmouth kid from New York that won everything in the world, and he got everything in the world now.
Still a loudmouth.
Yeah, but arguably, would you agree as he says, he's the GOAT?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. He's
Over Bobby Heenan?
It depends. As a manager, I still think Bobby Heenan will always be the GOAT. But I mean, I don't know how much more Bobby Heenan did besides managing and broadcasting. I don't know if he ever really did things behind the scenes. I've never really gotten any wind of it.
Right.
But in terms of if he did, I would think Paul has that on him big time. Wow. As an overall package, yeah, he would be the GOAT.
Pretty much Paul Heyman did everything.
Yeah.
He ran a promotion. He wrote for companies, helped with promos. I mean, he pretty much did everything he can and has been doing, and still to this day. We're in an era where we think, like we thought maybe after the Bloodline stuff, maybe Paul Heyman, maybe it's time to sit down in that chair and relax a little bit. But nope, back to business.
Oh man, Paul seems like the kind of guy that just will not stop until his body tells him to.
Right.
You know, like he's, as long as he could keep going, as long as his brain is still working and functioning, and he could come up with ideas, and he's gonna do it.
That's what we're calling this now, the new Dangerous Alliance.
I hope they do. I hope I would love to see them bring back that name, Dangerous Alliance. Not the new, but just call it Dangerous Alliance
2.0.
Not even, because I mean, they could just. I think there's been so much time that has lapsed from the last time we saw Dangerous Alliance that they could just keep it as that name. Because let's face it, a lot of the fans that watch now would have no clue what the original Dangerous Alliance is, right? I mean, yes, they can make references to it if they want to. They have the footage, right? Might as well use it. But I think just calling it the Dangerous Alliance, it's perfect, just like that.
I think it's better to do that than just simply call them Paul Heyman guys.
Yeah, no, they yeah.
Because that was one of those things when they started having Cesaro, Ryback, Kursak, so like all those guys where it was one thing if a fan wore the shirts, but like when the wrestlers started wearing them, it was like it's like an internet thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh, Stone Cold was a Paul Heyman guy, or Mick Foley was a Paul Heyman guy. The Undertaker was a Paul Heyman
girl. I've seen those shirts too, and I'm like,
right. Which I will say too, I think you and me, when we talk about current wrestling,
yeah,
there should be a female involved. I've heard Becky's name. I've heard even Rhea Ripley's name involved.
I think Becky should be the one. Trifecta of terror. No, that's something that would have been like for Judgment Day or some shit like that. No.
That'd be for your thing of like Cross, Black, and Priest.
Yeah, and I've seen people like, yeah, exactly. Like if they create their own little faction, that would be good. You know, I've also heard people say, "Oh, Evolution 2.0," and it's like, no. Like I don't even see. No, I think with Paul Heyman at the helm, it should be Dangerous Alliance.
Wow.
And if people don't know what that reference is, just Google, look it up.
We talked about it too in this episode for the beginning.
Yeah, so now you know. And but if they're going to bring in a woman, I think it has to be Becky. It makes perfect sense. She just turned heel. Mm-hmm. She's aligned with Seth. Obviously, we know that they have the relationship. We've seen them work on screen before in the past. Bring her in. Definitely bring her in. I think that's a great group right there. Becky, Seth, Braun. and Paul running the helmet. If they bring one other person, maybe one other man.
I'm seeing Austin Theory's name being thrown
I
around.
saw that a lot too, and yeah, why not? The kid, I feel this kid has been so screwed these last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's good in the ring. He's good on the mic. He's got a fantastic look. Super young. And no offense to Grayson Waller, but Austin deserves better.
Because I said in the chat, I was like, Waller can do everything by himself. It doesn't need. It never makes sense for him to be in a tag team because he's so arrogant. Like, he needs to be by himself.
He should be by himself. He should be the one that pisses everybody off, whether they're a face or a heel.
Right.
Bring back his show. Bring back his little talk show. Just let him do his own thing. I don't mind him being alone. I feel like putting those two together kind of made them a joke.
Pretty much, yeah.
Should be taken seriously. They should be taken more seriously. And I think Austin was maybe one of Vince's last few actual good ideas, because I know he was an Austin Theory guy.
Wow.
And once Vince kind of was pushed out of his position, they just dropped the ball with Austin. It's like they were like, eh.
It was definitely noticeable how far down he went. But now, maybe as a Paul Heyman guy in this new Dangerous Alliance,
right?
I mean, I think it's also too is that people would want to keep it the 3 or the 2 with Rollins and Breaker, because maybe potentially that could be a future Mania match. Rollins and Breaker 1-on-1. See, keep this whole storyline of who does Paul Heyman love the most? Who
wins his heart?
That's pretty much. I think
it's always that. It always comes down to who's going to win Paul's heart.
You know what the funny thing is? You said it a joke on this show, but then it's like once thing comes when I'm out in public or people talking about Mania, it's like, can you believe they're doing a triple threat match for the love of Paul Heyman?
I'm like, and the one who won it was the one that no one expected.
Wow. But as we close out this discussion about Paul Heyman, as you said, there's really no timetable on when this is ever going to end, or when this run's going to end. It's just going to be, we're just here for the ride.
We're here for the ride. We're here until his destiny is for him to end his career.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm glad that he's still around. Like, Paul Heyman has been such a gem to the business. But even, yeah, he had his downsides from time to time, but he always knew how to pick himself back up.
Right.
He always knew how to reinvent himself without truly reinventing himself,
Which is crazy to say.
Yeah. Like, he had opportunities to come back, and he took them. He never said, no, I'm not going to do that. He never let his pride get in the way. Because he could have easily been like, I'm not going back to WWE ever. And he did. And now look at him. That's why when we discussed who should we discuss today, I picked Paul, because I feel like he was the VIP of WrestleMania without having to step foot in the ring and wrestle.
Wow.
He was the center of probably the biggest swerve of the whole 2 shows.
Wow.
Without Paul Heyman, that triple threat match would have just been a triple threat match.
Yeah. And we didn't even get into his dedication to certain storylines. I mean, the night he got taken out by Sol Sikoa, how disheveled he looked. Like he
wasn't sleeping in real life. Just wasn't dyeing his hair.
Wasn't shaving.
Yeah, like he was a method actor. He does his own method acting in the wrestling business, and I think a lot of people could learn from that in the business.
I want to see Paul Heyman do a play one day.
Oh my god, like a one-man show or something, right?
Something like that.
Because we see Mick Foley do it, we've seen Taker doing it. Like, Paul Heyman needs to do something like that.
And maybe, hopefully, he doesn't berate the audience like he does. But I mean, some audience fans definitely shout some shit out at him, and he retorts. Yeah,
he runs with it. Like you did it to yourself, buddy.
Yeah. Anything else to add before we go on to this week in wrestling?
No, I think we covered all the bases. I mean, what I just last said, kind of, like I said, I'm really happy that he's still in the business. I'm happy that he's doing his thing. I don't know how things would be without him.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Overall.
I will say, I will ask our people that do watch this episode in the comment section and answer the question. In your opinion, is Paul Heyman the GOAT?
Right.
When it comes to managers or spokespeople, or I think pretty much in managers, valets, or like wise bands,
Mm-hmm.
advocates, whatever fucking role he wants to call himself,
Right.
is Paul Heyman the GOAT in professional wrestling?
Yes, that'd be great.
And all that without being in main events wrestling, fighting for titles too, which is he's in the upper echelons of wrestling, like in the same names as like Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, like influential figures. Where
Right. Right.
if he's not there in the business, a lot of the stuff that we've been seeing or have seen doesn't exist.
Right.
But on that note, we are now going into this weekend wrestling history.
Yay.
This week in wrestling.
Okay.
Okay, Jay.
History in Headlocks presents This Week in Wrestling History.
There it is. All right.
History in Headlocks presents This
Okay, we
Week
get
in
it.
Wrestling History.
I'd like to also add, if you follow the NYWM_history headlocks page, we do post daily in today's history. So if you do follow that page,
Yes.
please give that a follow. And do know that we're not just doing it exclusively on this show, but also on social media as well.
Yes. Absolutely.
So if any come up, I think we'll see. We'll see what will go along.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always a mystery with Jay with this segment because he puts whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Or whatever he finds.
We never know until we actually read it.
Ariana, could you start off?
Yes. So this week in wrestling history, on April 25th, 2000, one of the most infamous title changes in WCW history took place when actor David Arquette became WCW champion at a Thunder taping in Syracuse, New York. The change came during a tag team match when Arquette teamed with WCW champion Diamond Dallas Page against Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff. The rules of the match stipulated that whoever scored the pinfall became the champion. With the Scream Star pinning Bischoff, he secured the big gold belt to the horror of wrestling fans across the globe. Yeah. Yeah. I know. It was one of the most oddball things I've ever seen happen in wrestling.
This was one of many at the time.
One of many, of course. Yes, but this was definitely. I mean, I understand he was doing that movie. You know, what was it called again? Not Scream. The wrestling movie that he did.
Oh shit! I'm Ready to Rumble.
Ready to Rumble, and it wanted to promote it because a lot of WCW wrestlers were in that movie. But to put the belts on him blew my mind. And for years, I was just like, the fuck. Like, I actually disliked David Arquette because of it. I really did. Every time I would see him in anything, I'd be like, oh, there he goes, this freaking guy. But then, like, I know, the last few years, he's actually been involved in the wrestling business again. He actually does death matches and stuff, and I feel like that's his way of trying to contribute back to the business because he actually puts himself out there. And I don't know if you saw his post talking about this the other day.
Oh, he brought it up?
Yes, he brought it up. I actually want to pull it up because my nephew and I were discussing it. And I think we got to see a side of him in those comments that, no one ever really got to see during this time. It's a little long, but I just felt like he he touched base on some things that makes you realize he's trying to redeem himself. It wasn't his choice, basically, right? So he wrote, 25 years ago, I won the WCW championship belt. It was a surreal experience I couldn't have done without Diamond Dallas Page, Chris Kanyon, Eric Bischoff, and Jeff Jarrett. So after shooting Ready to Rumble, we went on a promotional tour for the film. After one in-ring appearance, the idea was floated as a joke from Tony Schiavone. Rumor has it, why not make Arquette the champ? Because he had witnessed me behind the curtain and saw that I was a true fan of wrestling. Needless to say, the fans hated it and most still do. I made a return to wrestling in a You Cannot Kill David Arquette to figure out why people got so upset. I know now that the dedication, sacrifice, and love of wrestling is something that in a world of blurry reality is something you have to respect, and champions have to earn that spot. Too many that have dedicated their life to this sport never get the opportunity, and I hope they spread the love around rather than continue to put the belt on the same wrestlers. At one point, after I realized what a bad idea it was, I went in the locker room and asked Booker T how many times he had won the championship, and he said he hadn't. It was at that point that I understood it on a deeper level. I went out on my next promo and did a shoot interview where I said, I don't deserve to be champion. Booker T deserves to be the champion. Not that that had any effect on the future, but Booker T did become champion soon after, more so for the crowd's reaction and his tremendous skill and charisma. Thank you to all the wrestling fans, to DDP and everyone mentioned in this post. I love wrestling and have the utmost respect for this remarkable sport and all of the fans, vendors, promoters, athletes, crew, and family members that dedicate their lives to this form of entertainment that became popular in the shade of a circus tent.
That's interesting. Because I think everybody also tends to forget too that this is a human being, a grown man that unfortunately was given this position or put in this spot, and there are fans who take this shit too seriously. Who I think I don't know about back then with him, or I don't know if he's ever said any stories about how people go to his house, but.
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
Like today, we have too many horror stories like that where people are at these wrestlers' locations, either for goodwill or bad will, because everybody has some different reasons. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that he said that. Like he talked about, because I remember hearing the promo where he said like I don't deserve this, because that's like the wrestling fan. He's like, of course you don't. You're fucking like. But then, like he mentioned Booker T, it's like that's one of those things too, where that's one of those like normal things. I like to hear that.
Yeah, because I felt like he knew from the moment that idea was thrown around that it was not going to go over well.
Like I think it definitely. I would definitely have the same reaction too. Like me, really, you're gonna do that?
Yeah,
and,
I mean, he could have said nope. I don't like this idea. Obviously, he had the choice. But at the same time, being on a promotional tour for a movie, he probably felt like shit. I gotta go with this so that this movie gets the promotion, I get paid.
It's also one of those things too where like the company dies, but when he goes on in his career, guess what's the one thing people are gonna always bring up? Oh, remember when you were in wrestling and you won the world title and you pissed all wrestling fans off?
Right, exactly. It's a negative mark on him. That's like, like I even said, like I even hated him for a while, and it's like I don't even know the guy.
And the dude could be legitimately funny.
He is.
Yeah.
He is, and the fact that he is a real true wrestling fan, and he actually took the time to train properly. I mean that I don't know if you ever saw that death match he did. That was in the way he was bleeding. Like, oh my.
The one Nick Gage.
Wasn't Nick Gage? I think so. I think it was Nick Gage. It was crazy.
Because that was where he almost.
He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that.
But I mean, I definitely think he doesn't need to do that to redeem himself. I mean, honestly, I think I know he's given some money to like some people that have died. Right? I know he's done some charitable things as well. So
of course, yeah, right, exactly.
It's just unfortunate that his name is synonymous with the stupidest angle in professional wrestling.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. But I'm glad that was brought up because, that when I read his post the other day, I was like, wow, like it takes a lot to say that, to admit all that,
Yeah.
Yeah. still the stupidest thing they could have ever done. But
it's also one of those things where Vince Russo just wanted to get a story in the paper to get the
Pretty
tabloids to get, because
that's exactly what it was.
I made a celebrity world champion. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't give a fuck
something.
about what the consequences of it. He didn't.
This next one, April 25th of the year 2014. I'm gonna apologize in advance if I missay this last name, but Connor Michalik,
Michalik, I think.
Michalik, I think it's probably what it is.
Michalik.
Who was a huge Daniel Bryan and WWE fan, suddenly passed away after a long battle with cancer at age 8. Connor was in attendance at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans to witness Bryan win the WWE World Heavyweight title in the main event. Stephanie McMahon and Paul Levesque, Triple H founded Connor's Care, a non-profit charitable organization for pediatric cancer research. Connor became the first recipient to receive the Warrior Award at the 2015 WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That's also that. I do remember the videos they would air where he would be backstage interacting with the wrestlers. Where it was it's always first like AJ, like you need to stop being crazy. And AJ's like like laughing, like shoot wise, and just I don't know. It's definitely just one of those things that makes me happy to be a wrestling fan because it's like. I'm not saying like I want to be in that kid's position, but it's like those one of those like dream things to be like you get to interact with the wrestlers, be on their level.
I'll always give them that credit. Like what they do for children who are sick or in any other kind of dire situation to make that moment in their life a little more easier and a little more happier. It's always been a beautiful thing because you can see how genuine happy the workers are to meet these kids.
Right.
To know that they're putting a smile on these kids' faces and for a moment that these little kids can forget what they're going through. You know, it's a beautiful thing. Like that must make their heart swell so much.
Right.
You know, this little guy, he was so truly special. Truly special. And to know he was only 8, like that kills me. It's just a baby.
Right. It just sucks that like those certain things like also think about in the case for the parents like you shouldn't lose your child at the age of 8 because of bullshit.
Not at all.
But I mean, for as much crap WWE ever receives on a yearly basis for whatever the political views or whatever stance they take. There's always this a story like this where you say like, you know what, good on them. Yeah. Thank you for being like human beings and making this family's like year because it's been like a decade now. So
I know. I know you're right. He would have been a teenager, and God only knows like if he would have still been like involved with them, like. If he would have been cured, if he could have gone into the wrestling business himself.
Oh, well, you know what else? I would definitely think like WWE would definitely invite him to all the shows if he could physically make it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's such an important thing. It's such an important thing for for pro wrestling to do that because kids are such a huge fan base for them. Generations of children have always loved professional wrestling, so I love seeing WWE do this, and AEW does the same thing with kids as well and with women as well, and giving back to the community is probably one of the best things that they could do, especially when there's so much nastiness that we hear about happening within the business. It's always refreshing to hear them do things that gives back to people, the people that have to give it to them. Yeah.
Oh God. Definitely my nephew about to try and break in. But
speaking of kiddos.
Yeah. Next up this week in wrestling history, April 26, 1999. Oh Jesus God, hell. The title changes galore on an episode of WCW Monday Night Show in Fargo, North Dakota. In the first match of the night, Sting defeated Diamond Dallas Page to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. However, He lost it back to DDP in a fatal four-way match that also included Goldberg and Kevin Nash in addition. And Goldberg and Kevin Nash. In addition, the WWE Cruiserweight Championship changed hands when Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Psychosis. But the important thing that everybody should remember about this, everybody should look this up, but they put Ric Flair in the mental institution. They filmed skits where Ric Flair is in a fucking robe, not in his fancy robes. He's in a gown with his ass hanging out.
Oh my god!
Running around with crazy people.
Oh my
watching
god!
WCW Nitro.
Oh my god!
And then randomly Scott Hall just appears. Scott Hall wasn't seen for months, and he's in one of these segments, and in one of the gowns, and just does the ooh, and backs away thing.
The silliness. This is like the silliness that they would come up with sometimes was just not funny. I mean, it was funny.
It's laughing. Like, we can laugh now because you're dead.
We can laugh now. But at the same, I mean, it was funny. Of course, obviously seeing him with his ass hanging out. But it's like, oh boy, like what were they? What the hell were they smoking to come up with something like this?
I mean, I guess it just went as far as what if Ric Flair? What if we put him in a mental institution?
I mean, they need to do that now. For real.
They need to lock him away. We need more than mental institution.
Throw away the key, man. I'll take this one.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I will just say that the world title thing, that was just a normal WCW thing. It felt like every week that belt was on the line.
That belt was, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I feel like that belt changed hands like every other week.
Yeah, ridiculous.
All right, on April 27, 1957, wow. The first no-women's tag team match took place in St. Louis, Missouri, as June Byers and Chyna Myra were victorious over Bonnie Watson and Penny Banner. These freaking names, my goodness. All right, I think that's awesome.
Nothing to add, but I mean, that's just an interesting little tidbit.
I would love to look that up, actually, and see if there's any footage or pictures of it on online anywhere.
I mean, I would just like to know what these women look like. I mean,
exactly.
Because I'm looking at Chyna Mirror, I'm like, I don't want to assume nationality, but it'll just be like interesting to see.
Like an Asian gimmick, and like I see Penny Banner with like red hair because Penny red copper. I'm gonna look that up on the side, and maybe we could post about it on our Instagram if we find information. Yeah, I think that'd be good. I think that'd be a great idea.
There you go. Also this week, April 27th in 1999, WWE taped the pilot episode of SmackDown in New Haven, Connecticut. The pilot was one of off to air on UPN to test the viability of the show on network television. When aired, it became the first WWE show on network television in the USA since Saturday Night's Main Event in November of 1992. Show was headlined by a blockbuster tag team match as Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock defeated The Undertaker and Triple H. The other noteworthy angle on the show then cuts off. Yeah. But it's pretty much, this was the start of the corporate ministry.
Right.
Where Shane was revealed to be the higher power. No, he revealed that he was the one behind Undertaker stalking Stephanie.
Right, correct.
Yeah. And also, just the visual of like the corporation and the Ministry of Darkness, like the Mean Street Posse coming up to Shane, evil laughing, ha ha ha.
It was just too much. To me, it was a little too much. Like they jumped the shark with that.
It was definitely NWO levels of jumping the shark.
Totally. Like it's like really, we really going to like do we really need to merge these two groups together? Like, come on now.
This was also, I think this was straight after WrestleMania 15, so this was the new angle for the year.
Right.
It didn't even get to the summer. That's how bad this was.
Horrible.
It didn't make any sense.
Like 50 people in the ring. A mishmash of people in the ring. You're like, all right, now who are they going to feud with? But they were feuding with each other.
But it was also storyline-wise, it didn't make any sense, too, because it was like Vince did want Stone Cold to have the belt, so he's aligned himself with the devil. But then also storyline, he would cost the Undertaker a title match, and then it's just when Vince revealed himself as the higher power, it was over.
That was the biggest womp womp
Right.
in wrestling history, in my opinion.
It was interesting to see like Austin and Rock like team up for the first time. I mean, because you had a couple of months of them just like Rock with his insults like you trailer park trash.
Yeah, some of the best work for each other was with each other.
Jesus Christ, son, nursery time was over.
God, they were just their chemistry is just off the meters.
Right, and I mean, it was interesting to see. It was not interesting. It was awkward because they opened that show with Stephanie talking about like all the things the Undertaker did to her,
right?
And like the crowd's supposed to, like this is like young Stephanie, and she'd be talking about like he'd be hovering over me, and the fans are like whoop, 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 whoop.
Creepy.
Show your tits. Show your tits.
So creepy. Poor stuff. Very creepy stuff. Shit.
And people say Vince never exposed his daughter to fucking anything. I mean,
whatever.
Stephanie wrote that story, right? Everybody.
Thankfully, she's level-headed. Turns to a hot mess, you know.
It's funny now seeing her like she's not like in charge of anything. She's like when we started with Heyman, she seems more happier.
Yeah, she's just she's like the a centerpiece at times. That's all. She's got her show now on the side. Which have you seen? Have you watched any episodes?
Yeah, I've seen some clips of her. Like,
just in the clips.
She's definitely one of those like moms that like wants to be cool with the cool crowd type of people.
Yeah, but she looks like she's having a blast with it.
But seeing her daughters at the Hall of Fame, I was like, oh my god, there's only a few years left till potentially they're in the business.
I know, I can't believe how grown up they are. Yeah.
Next up in 2018, WWE held the greatest Royal Rumble event at the King Abdullah International Stadium in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. 2018 was when this all started. Okay. This was the first event to be held under a multi-year deal between WWE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, designed to shine a positive international PR spotlight on the country. Okay. The main event of the show was a 50-man version of a Royal Rumble match that was won by Braun Strowman. The match itself had a number of curious entries, including various NXT brand wrestlers that appeared without any apparent logic, including Tucker Knight. Okay. And not for nothing, they put people from NXT that haven't even made their television debut in this fucking thing.
Right.
Development names yet to even appear on WWE TV. Baba Tunde, who would later on to become Commander Aziz, if you remember.
Dude, it's huge.
Yeah, and Dan Matha, a sumo wrestler who had never been involved in professional wrestling and hasn't since. Hiroki Sumi, several names from WWE's past, like the Great Khali and Hornswoggle, and even Chris Jericho, mere days before he was due to wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, pit stop.
McMahon and Undertaker merged their corporation. Oh no, so this is
there we go. That's supposed to.
But
okay.
this is like weird because this is technically the last WWE show Jericho ever did.
Right.
Before he left for New Japan and then as we see AEW.
Right.
And it's funny enough when his contract's up, he's talking about maybe I'll go back to WWE.
No, just stay where you are right now. Away.
Shoot.
I love you, Chris, but let us miss you.
I mean, do you remember? I mean, we talk about joke about, but the stories that like the King, requested like for Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna, and then to break the news to him they're dead.
They've been dead. Like where you been, bro?
Just read the fact about the sumo wrestler that has never wrestled in
That's
professional.
Hilarious.
You know the best thing is he probably got a tremendous payday for it.
Yeah, it was probably somebody that the King would watch in his travels to Japan or something. It was like, I love this guy. Put him in the Rumble.
I mean, but that was their answer to the whole I want Yokozuna thing.
Right, just bring in some random
sumo.
Sumo.
Next up, Ari.
Sure. On April 28th, 1995, WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling presented the first day of the infamous Collision in Korea event in Mayday Stadium in Pyongyang, North Korea. The Koreans claimed 150,000 fans were in attendance for one night, making it comfortably the biggest attendance in wrestling history to that point. The record, again, according to North Korean authorities, was broken 24 hours later when 190,000 fans supposedly attended night two. The main event of night one saw Shinya Hashimoto and Scott Norton battle in a 20-minute time limit draw for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now, the funny thing is how those fans were forced to go to that show.
I was just about to say.
Or they would die.
It was a, you go to this or you fucking get decapitated type of situation.
It will shoot you all.
I think the Dark Side of the Ring covered this too.
Yes, it was a great episode. It was a really, really eye-opening episode to see like the footage of them getting off the plane and just military everywhere, and it was very brave of them to attempt. To this day, would be something very brave to attempt.
I know Eric Bischoff's one of those controversial figures that says like all the mean things about AEW, but in that episode we talked about where all he wanted to do was go for a run, and he took a run, and all the children in this career are just like scared to death because this guy's taking a run because they don't know any better. But then it goes back to
I forgot what Scott Norton. There was an encounter with him where he almost got in trouble.
Him and Scorpio. No, Scorpio and Hawk.
Right. But there was something else with him talking about how he almost got in trouble too. Because the culture is so different. Obviously,
because I think his wife or girlfriend at the time called up and she got through, and he said the phone. He goes, "Listen, you don't know this. This is." Right. He said something like, "This is a fucked up place I'm in." Yes. And then the phone cut. The soldiers stormed to his room, grabbed him, took him to a dark room.
Yes, I mean...
And the general was like, you don't say anything bad about this place.
It's an open-air prison.
It was insane.
North Korea is an open... God, please don't get me. It's an open-air prison. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And the best was like when the tour was over, Ric Flair was like jumping like up and down the airport, right back in the States. He's like, "Fucking, I'm alive."
Yeah, you start to appreciate things a little differently when you're in a situation like that, in an environment like that, where you have to perform or else they'll shoot you.
And this is another one of those things where like, this is where another one of those like a tragedy could have happened on this tour too. Because Scorpio was making a shake in his fucking room. He was ready to kill Road Warrior Hawk on the tour.
Ooh, it's like, this is not the place to do that. Wait till we come back to Atlanta.
I just love Scorpio is like one of those people that like when they tell the story, and he's just like making a shake out of these fucking chopsticks in his room, and Benoit people is like, "What are you about to do? About to kill Hawk?"
No, you can't kill.
Dude, do you not realize where we are? If you do this, you're not going home.
No, he would never have gone home. He would still be there in some freaking cave.
He would have been dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Tortured to death.
I know now these days I think he's serving time or he's about to.
That's a shame, man. But I thank God I got to meet him in Philly before this happened because he was cool people, man.
Right.
Awesome. He was it was, as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta be too close Scorpio. He's at the same hotel we're at.
He was definitely one of those people you didn't want to fuck with, though.
Yeah, I approached him at the coffee station, like, are you too close, Scorpio? He's like, yes, I am, young lady. Very nice.
All right, next up. Okay, this is sad as well. 2005, Chris Candido passed away at age 33 in New Jersey from pneumonia due to complications from an injury picked up during a steel cage match 2 days earlier at TNA's Lockdown event. Candido was highly regarded as one of the hardest workers in the business, working for various promotions throughout his career, such as the WWF, WCW, ECW, TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Smoky Mountain Wrestling. He won several titles, including the NWA World Heavyweight, NWA Midwest Heavyweight, WCW Cruiserweight, and both the WWF and ECW's versions of the World Tag Team titles. Candido is most notably known for his time in the WWF under his heel fitness fanatic gimmick of Skip of the Barrionadas, alongside his real-life girlfriend Tammy Lynn Sitch, who played Candido's valet Sonny. In late 2005, TNA held the Chris Candido Memorial Tag Team Tournament in his honor, and in 2009, Candido was inducted into the Hardcore Hall of Fame.
Oh, so sad.
I mean, I didn't realize how accomplished he was with all the belts. But I mean,
yeah. dude had a pretty solid career. You know, it was just I could have sworn that it was a blood clot that killed him, not pneumonia.
Right. But I think I think it was a combination of both.
Because I remember the story was that him and Tammy were at home after he flew in from Florida after the surgery,
Right.
which he shouldn't have flown, and that's why he caught the blood clot.
Well, that was after he had the surgery. Just so
it was after he had the surgery.
Like he broke his leg at the pay-per-view,
Right,
had surgery the next day.
Right, and hopped on a flight to come back to New Jersey.
Well, worse, he did the TNA taping the next
Right.
day.
And
then got on the plane.
Get on the flight, and you're not supposed to get on a plane after surgery.
Right.
You're not. And then I remember the story was like she went into the kitchen to get something, and when she came back, he was dead. He was dead, sitting on the couch or laying on the couch, just dead.
Did he fall asleep and die, or?
No, they were actually, from what I remember reading, like they were up watching TV or something together, watching a movie, and she went to the kitchen to get something to drink for them. Came back out a few minutes later, and he was gone.
That's scary.
That's very scary, and like I remember too, like maybe a month later, I went to a show at the Elks Lodge, like an afternoon show, and she was there, like sitting by herself, very incognito with like a baseball cap. She had lost a lot of weight at this point, from grief probably, and then I went into the ladies' room, and there was somebody else in there, and when I came out the stall, it was her. Like at the sink, and I just, got to like briefly like give her my condolences, and she was very grateful and very,
Wow.
It was sad. It was just I could see the sadness in her face, and it's just a shame how she just spiraled out of control after this. Grief can do so much damage to somebody if they don't address it. Yeah. She never did. She addressed it the wrong way.
I mean, I will say when I did my old show, General Mission Wrestling Productions, or podcast at that point, it was when the story came up of like her last DUI.
Right.
I remember going on this full-on rant where like I had my co-host saying like relax, like people are gonna change, and then I was like, I looked at, and then I was like, not enough, and I said, how many fucking chances do you give people to say, you know what, enough of the bullshit. We know where this is. I know where this is going. Somebody is going to die.
Right. Absolutely.
It's like there's too many people die these days. I mean,
yeah.
the fact that Chris Candido died at the age of 33.
Right.
That is horseshit to me. It's all from
sorry, but if he.
Is that from pneumonia, not the blood clot? Brother confirmed it. Okay.
Yeah, but if you look it up, they still say that the blood clot is what caused the ultimate death. He probably had pneumonia, but the blood clot is what caused the final.
Yeah.
When it says heart killed him.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the Sunny thing, where and then recently when she tried to appeal it or like get released early, I mean. Yeah. Round of applause for the judge saying, bullshit, you serve your time, lady. No,
she needs, listen, there's no excuse for what she's done at all. Yeah, sure. She was hurting, but there's a point where you have to hold yourself accountable and say, okay, I can't keep using this as a crutch to keep fucking up in my life.
Do I honestly believe she misses it? Yes, I do think she truly loved him, but it's also too, like, there's been things in the past that you have done and said
to him
that do not help your case at all. I mean, you started a rumor, or like you said stories like how, I used to fuck Davey Boy behind Diana's back. You make up stories. You do shoot interviews for money. The whole The people sleeping in bed with you at convention thing, that was retarded.
Yeah, it was just, she just.
The only redeeming thing you ever did was make me laugh when you farted in your porn video. That was the only fucking thing you did that made me laugh.
But yeah, she she needed to control herself. She never did, and at that point, it just created a monster. And I know that she probably lives with a lot of guilt, not just for what she's done, but with the DUIs and people killing somebody, basically. It's just also the shit that she's probably done in the past, like especially the shit. She had Candido like a cuck. He was a cuck for her, and she probably had a lot of guilt, survivor's guilt over that shit, and just instead of coping with it with therapy and counseling, she coped it with drugs, alcohol, porn, God knows what else.
Everything.
And it cost her fucking freedom.
Everything except get help or ask for help.
Exactly. The one thing she could have done, the easiest thing she could have done was ask for help. She didn't.
Like, I don't know her family situation. I don't know if she's still in contact with the Candidos. I think they said they pretty much lost contact with her.
I'm pretty sure they have.
Where
it's not easy to keep up that kind of a relationship, to be honest. I can just testify to that myself.
And after watching the Dark Side episode, it's just stuff. It's just a broken family for the Candidos. Where well, unfortunately, they can move on and deal with it and celebrate Chris's life, but Tammy just, like you said, spiraling was the word to use. She spiraled horribly.
Horribly. Like, it was just no stopping it.
But, I mean, there was, like, brief chances, or at least, like some highlights where it's like, okay, maybe it looks like nope.
Yeah.
But next up, 2008, this episode of Raw from East Rutherford, New Jersey, had a unique ending. Why so? During the main event between Triple H and Randy Orton, newly named General Manager William Regal entered the production truck and instructed the show to be brought to a premature close. For the amount of times when Raw was running from 2018 to 2020, I wish I had the power to do that.
Just shut it down.
I just remember how Regal used to say it too. He's like, take it off the bloody air! Take it off the bloody air!
God. Yo, William is he is such a gem. He's another one.
It's just... and you know what sucks too is that was that was going to be him getting the world title.
Yeah.
Because he had won the King of the Ring, he was power hungry. And he said, you know, if these people are going to disrespect me, I'm going to end the fucking show early. Meanwhile, just, oh my God. And then, of course, he had his demons, and he acknowledges what he did was wrong. So they took him off his GM, and he came back as a regular guy on the roster. But
yeah,
just imagine 2008 William Regal, King of the Ring, GM, WWE champion.
Can you imagine? Oh my God. But you know what? He was one of those guys that never got to have that run.
Right.
Probably should have at least had one. Just one.
Oh, he was always good with the comedy stuff, but when it came to being serious, it was he's pissed, or he's gonna fuck somebody up.
It was no joke. I mean, the dude was one of those that just, to me, is like a bit of a total package with that kind of stuff, with his performances, you know?
It'll definitely be an interesting episode when we get to him. It'll be a deep dive on him.
Oh God, I would love that. I mean, my highlight would always be him dancing with the hat on. When they were with what was the name of the two wrestlers that one dies? He drowned saving his son.
Crime Time.
Yeah, Crime Time, when they were backstage.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Where it's like
Coach, fit a cap on him.
like Teddy, Coach,
yes,
GTD, and Chet, and like Williams like I'm just sitting in.
He's there like, yeah. Oh my God, that. Well, I sometimes, if I need a something to laugh at, I will actually look that up just to laugh at that.
Because just for him, it was always that he could turn that Twitch. I mean, not for that he was willing to do anything. He dressed up as a Vegas showgirl twice.
It's just great how he started his career so like prim proper Lord.
Well, also, like he's the ultimate carny wrestler. I mean, he was
Right.
like wrestling at circuses, or
Right.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
But just to think, like Lord Steven Regal
Yeah.
is down with the brothers.
With his hand in his jacket.
Yeah.
With that snooty face.
We definitely got to do an episode on him. I'm gonna get him to the list.
Yes, definitely.
And then lastly, we have on April 29th of 2007 at WWE Backlash in Atlanta, Georgia, Bobby Lashley lost the ECW World Title when he was pinned by Mr. McMahon in a 3-on-1 handicap match. Mr. McMahon's partners were Shane McMahon and Umaga. John Cena retained the WWE Championship in the Fatal 4-Way main event against Edge, Randy Orton, and Shawn Michaels. And the last man standing match between The Undertaker and Batista for the World Heavyweight title ended in a draw. Those two main events, from memory, were awesome. And then the whole McMahon being ECW World Champion thing.
Mm-hmm.
Big, like a month removed from shaving your head bald on pay-per-view.
Right.
And then you're wearing a do-rag on television being weird.
Yeah. Weird is an understatement for that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for this week's Wrestling History, which provides us another. I feel like there's a fucking owl outside my window, and I feel like that's not it.
I'm hearing it too. I hear like it's the morning doves. It's the morning doves. They hoot too.
I can hear a who.
Yeah.
Like it's the fucking new day outside. What the hell's going on?
I hear it too. I don't know if it's on your end or my end, but I hear it.
It's definitely over here because it's like behind me, but it's like I don't know if it's my nephew being weird and pretending he's an owl.
It's definitely the bird. As a bird. It's the morning doves.
It's
those little brown birds that you see in the springtime.
It's 5 in the fucking afternoon. Why is Anyway, Mom, as I go crazy over here, as this week's episode of shut up. This week's episode of History and Headlocks. I'm Mike Cesariana. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're only 16 away from 100. Please help us reach our goal. And see you next time, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.